Okay. Hopefully everybody is making their way, getting them a seat, sitting down, locking in, got their popcorn. We about to go in here for our second portion. I am going to play it on 1.25 because I do want to kind of get through this part. Um, Only because we do have to get into our Tupac trial later. So just so you guys know. Um, and I kind of want to be on time for that one, if all possible. So here we go, guys. Let's get into it. Remember, we are now, they were on break and they listening to a very evidentiary hearing. It seems like Judge London County has heard this about 7 or 8 times at this point in time. And it's in regards to our victim, wife, widow, Christian Bridegan. You know, she's arguing in regards to some in-camera hearing in regards to her phone. Now, I'm not sure if this was her phone records prior, recently or after they were arrested or what it is, but it's definitely a problem that they are trying to get to the bottom of bottom of, and that's what they're currently arguing, guys. So let's get in here.
Because the context of that particular statement is related to a silly whatever. That should not be given over to the defense. It doesn't have anything to do with her bias, prejudice, blah, 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 that I've already identified. And then I'll weigh it to see whether it goes or not. There will be a tracking, a log, and then I will file all objections, and then it will be a part of the record and can go up, and maybe we can make some case law to give some other courts some guidance. I'm trailing a new path, okay? That's what I'm saying. But the metadata, the fact that they could have gotten it, we've been down that road. If it's on the phone and it hasn't, whatever, if it hasn't gone away, then there's no privacy rights in dialing a phone number. Like, it's the same thing. And as far as the AB and LB, on the 4th page, on those areas, if you want to look at it first, I'll give you a short snap count because we keep litigating the same thing. Object. Say that should not be disclosed. Judge, read 3 messages before. That was related to whatever. That should not go over. That's just a relationship, whatever. And I will make the call to say, because I know about the strategic things, and I could say, just like I would in any ruling, whether something comes in or it stays out, it's a judgment call by the judge. It's discretionary on me. And so I know the rules. I know the evidence code. I know discovery, okay? And it may or may not. And if it's private, if she wants to assert her constitutional rights there, assert them. But I only want to look in camera at the very narrow scenario that is before the court to allow, which the defendant is allowed to test the state's evidence. Witness testimony is evidence. Impeachment is wide. Extrinsic evidence could be used. I think they wrote in their papers at one point, I'm recalling, they said, well, we shouldn't just be confined to her answers in a deposition. If they know now that something else exists, and I don't know what they have, whatever, but like I have to handle what is before this court, which is a request. And I'm trying to handle it with as much care as I possibly can for both sides. That is what the law requires. So Roque says that when the court orders, which I understand, it's a government intrusion. It's and then that's a 196, and it says that there wasn't a dispute about privacy. We're going into 197, which no one is disputing. And however, when the government intrudes, okay, it has to be narrowed, and I'm prepared to do that. I'm prepared to respect Ms. Bridegan's rights, but I also have to give over what they would be entitled to. That's my job. So that is, to me, the fairest way to do it. They've apparently submitted affidavits that say that you could target. If Ms. Bridegan objects to that and the expert says it, give the whole thing, I'll give it to Ms. Bridegan. It's her phone. Then you lodge the objections in the areas where I've identified that should be turned over, and I will make rulings on those objectionable areas. That was my thought, based on what I read from you. But we're not starting from scratch, Mr. Clifton. I mean, I feel like I've given a pretty good roadmap, and I'll give it to her first, and you go through it, make a log, I'll compare it, and then after the log, I'll give them the opportunity to be heard. I'll make the call. Does that sound fair?
No, Your Honor, we're still, we're not agreeable to that. I mean, the bottom.
Well, I've ruled, Mr. Clifton, so based on my ruling, I'm asking, do you want to exercise that process or not? I need compliance. You can tell me yes or no, if you want to object or not, the way that I'm outlining for you.
Yes, Your Honor, because this isn't just a blank objection. Again, our objection is based on unknowns. So yes, we still object to it because I can't go through records. I can't tell what is what if I don't know exactly what their materiality is to be able to respond to it. If Your Honor orders compliance and orders us to turn the phone over, I mean, that's Your Honor's order.
Okay, let me be clear, okay? Ms. Bridegan would never be allowed to object about relevance, okay? She is not a party. She can't object based on privacy. She can't say, oh, that's not relevant, I'm not telling you. She can't object on privacy. And the state of Florida's bowed out. They don't want to be heard about this. And so that is her legal ability to lodge objections to this particular piece of evidence. So whether it's relevant or not, or goes to their defense or not, that's not her obligation. We're like, think about it like you're in a depot, right? She can't say, I'm objecting. You're not gonna, that's not relevant. But she can say, this impacts my privacy rights. And so looking in that lens, okay, based on the categories that I've given, that is where I need your input. That is where I need her to say, no, that's taken out of context. No, that impacts my privacy. No, they shouldn't get that, because that is her legal foothold in this whole situation. That's the way I see it. I've ruled, okay? I've ruled about this. And if to the certain extent, like the justice for Jared, I said it's very small areas that I like comments
We
or
were
direct.
told by their expert yesterday that that's not even on the phone.
What?
That you have to get that through Meta.
How would they know that?
Because none of those DMs or anything are saved to an individual's phone. They're saved in Meta on
okay.
cloud, and that was his whole.
I thought I don't know what I was very clear about is that phone is not going to be used to log in anywhere, okay? So if it is or if it isn't, then if it's nothing, then it's nothing. There's no objection there. It's what is contained. They've asked for information on the phone, but the phone is not going to be used to connect to anything. It's just going to be whatever. So I don't know what Cellbrite is able to do now, but like it's only what is actually on the phone that will be allowed. I'm not, Ms. Nelson, I hope that was clear.
Yes, Your Honor, completely clear from our perspective.
Okay, no logging into anything. It's just whatever is contained on the phone. And so this is the next question I have, Mr. Clifton, which is the defense has identified 2 individuals that say that they can target the areas within my order, or are you requesting the full download and you go through it and you lodge your objections that way?
I'm not requesting a full download because I don't think that's proper. I don't know who their experts are. I mean, that was just filed. I didn't review it, Your Honor. I didn't have time to do that. I guess the best thing I can say to Your Honor in order for us to move on is we are not in agreement to turn the phone over. So if Your Honor, it sounds like you are going to order compliance to turn the phone over to a certain individual on a day, we're just asking then for that order to take place. Because that has not taken place yet.
And so I just want to be clear. I understood from the other objection, you're saying she has not gathered this information. Is that right? And that's why the phone's getting turned over? It was over, the other pleading that was filed is it's overburdensome. It's not, I guess, organized in a way. In order for Ms. Bridegan, I did not want to order the download, but I also need the information in some form, and so that's how we got here about the download.
There are particular documents that she put together for that second, on her phone to talk about that second deposition, and she testified to all those. That's never even been requested. That's like those specific information has not been requested. It's just a solid request that we want all communications from May 2025 and on, not what we talked about in the deposition.
Is it a part of what I've ordered to be in camera reviewed? What
It is, Your
Ms.
Honor.
Bridegan has put together?
It is, Your Honor. We requested the screenshots as part of our subpoena.
I don't have anything regarding screenshots, but there it is. I mean, so there is, I guess, a portion that she put together for Your Honor. I mean, that is there.
Okay. Has Ms. Bridegan complied with EF, turning that over?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I mean, there's been, and again, I mean, because this idea of just objections and not saying anything, we're allowed to object. I mean, a subpoena came out and we objected to it. And that's what we're dealing with right now. If there's going to be an order, you need to turn over the X information that you talked about, these messages in that. Again, I mean, an order, I can't go through this order and just say, now we're going to give this, but hey, we're not giving this. Overall, we don't want a download of her phone. If there are specific messages that they want, send a subpoena for that and we will deal with it. But that has not been done. We're talking about a download of the phone, not specific, hey, please give us the whatever it was that we talked about in the second deposition.
I love objections, Mr. Clifton. That's what I'm up here for, okay? I love them. All right, but they can't be endless, okay, when there's a court ruling, all right? So those are the rules. Then when the way we got to the download is based on your other pleading. That's how I thought we got to the download. I'm not just coming out of the air saying, turn over your phone. Somehow we have to, it morphed into that at this last hearing. I want the information based on the order provided to the courts for an in-camera review.
The only information that has been compiled is what she testified to at the second deposition, Your Honor.
So how can we get this information without a download?
They can send a subpoena and I'll work on that. That's without a download.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
That's like we did with EF, but that is different than us plugging in or saying, now, Mrs. Brady, you need to go on your phone and start taking screenshots of 3 years of messages. That's different. And so if we're just talking about the information that she specifically discussed in her depo.
I specifically addressed the 3-year period. I'm talking about May. I'm asking, is there a way without turning her phone over that you can comply with this court order? That is what I'm asking.
Not fully, no.
Okay.
And I think that's the issue then, because I can't, again, we get into like piecemealing things. I can't piecemeal it. There is information that has been compiled by her through the court order for the second deposition. Everything else isn't. So I can't just say, well, this is it, because that's not everything. This became because they wanted a subpoena for her download of her phone. That's what they filed in July. It wasn't my filing. I didn't say, hey, let's do download.
I know, but now we've progressed. So now we're in a more specific area.
Now they have filed an actual subpoena asking to download her phone. If the court is saying, we're not doing that, but you need to give her what you've compiled, like we did with EF, because that was the court's order. That's different than what is going on here right now, Your Honor.
Okay, I want Ms. Bridegan to comply with my order. And so if she was able to compile that, can she compile the things within the order? That's a yes or a no.
No, Your Honor, that is where we're going to get to overly burdensome.
Right, so now what is
Now
the
we're talking
solution without
hours
turning
and
her
hours
phone
and
over?
hours and hours.
So now, compliance-wise, what is the solution without turning her phone over?
Our solution was to allow us to understand the materiality.
I've gotten past that.
I know, but that's it. I mean, that is our solution. So I guess we're at that
That you
point
can
then.
object more, I'm asking, how can you, if it's overburdensome, give me a solution that would not be so burdensome to Ms. Bridegan to comply with the court's order?
We don't believe that the court should order an extraction or
ruled.
the information of the thing.
I have ruled.
Then again, Your Honor, it's going to have to be just then an order stating that she has to hand her phone over to somebody for an extraction.
Your Honor, if I may, one of the two affidavits that we filed this morning is from another qualified expert at Invista, and the affidavits outline the proposed way that Invista could effectuate this type of extraction, and also a filter team process by which Jake Green, who was the person who appeared yesterday under oath and gave testimony before the court, would be walled off and would not have any access or direction or involvement whatsoever in the extraction, since that was a concern expressed by Ms. Bridegan's counsel yesterday. We've proposed a solution, Your Honor. We're simply asking that the court enter an order allowing Ms. Kayla Nelson, who is the professional from Invista, to perform the limited extraction of the applications the court has outlined in its order and outlined in our subpoenas. And Ms. Nelson is available and can be in Jacksonville tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. to complete the extraction.
I'll hear Ms. Bridegan on that solution.
Your Honor, we stand on, we do not agree with having an extraction of her phone. We believe it's a violation of her privacy rights. We believe that we have a right to know what the materiality is of what is being sought on her phone. I understand that the judge has already ruled on those issues. That is our position.
All right. I'll overrule the objection. Ms. Bridegan turns her.
Well, damn, lady, thank you. I tell you be the silent ones, boy. Y'all know she only pop in when we start and when we end. Thank you so much. It's so funny that you sent that. She sent me some money for Viva Las Vegas to go look at the Tupac trial for us. And it's so funny that when you were sending it, I was actually, because I don't really get my Cash Apps like that until somebody tell me, go look at your Cash Apps. And I'm sitting up here looking at hotels because I'm trying to figure out what's going to be the best days for me to go up there. But shoot, thank you. Oh, I'm so glad I was in my phone. Thank you so much, lady. I know you in the back. She only come up for air when it's necessary. But thank you. Okay, let's go back in. Oh my goodness. I'm like, I must be sending out my little spidey senses as I'm looking in this thing. Boy, oh boy. You know, I'm trying to think because, you know, the holiday is, yes, Marilda, we got another holiday coming up. The holiday is, I'm looking at this calendar and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to go around the holiday. So Labor Day is September the 7th. So I'm really trying to make sure. And I don't want to go up there on days when they have them half days either. So yeah, I'm trying to figure all of that out. But yeah, I was just on here trying to look at the hotels to try to see exactly where I'm gonna stay at. It's so funny because my baby asked me today. She said, "Ma, can I go with you?" She wanna go. I'm like, oh gosh, okay, I guess. Yes, Marilda, we got another holiday coming up. That's why I'm like, I gotta make sure that, because you know the prices of everything go up. Like even the trash hotel is gonna be like $500-$600 for no reason. Yeah, I ain't doing that. So, okay. But thank you once again. Y'all know, yes, please just support me in trying to get up here. It's gonna be my first one. I'm just like so excited and so nervous and I don't know. I got a whole bunch of things that I'm thinking in regards to it. I'm gonna try to get some. I'm gonna order some. Like something that I can bring up there that I can kind of like hand out. Y'all know on the Las Vegas Strip, they don't do nothing. They do this, or they like for the strip clubs and stuff. I said I'm gonna be out there like a little stripper worker or something because I'm gonna be out there like passing out the little cards and stuff. So people, all they do is throw the stuff on the ground, and then the sweepers come sweep them up in the morning. If you ever been to Vegas, and I said I'm about to sit out there. I'm gonna have the kids work in the corner. With the taking the trial with our YouTube thing. So ain't no telling what type of trash people who gonna get in there after I get back. Oh my goodness. Oh, you fine, Gabber. Don't worry about it. I mean, it's just whatever anybody can spare. It ain't nothing like. I think I do, Gabber. I'm assuming we do. I think it's kind of like TikTok. It's something new with YouTube, so I really, really don't know. But my plan and goal is to try to get up. I gotta see how the trial is going. That's why I want to stay live in the trial, because I need to see how it's actually. Because I really want to go up there when the defense and when we get to like closing statements, if that makes sense. So I already got my little pass. So that's a plus. So I got that. And they told me how to get in there, what I need to do, all that stuff, even if I get put in the overflow room, but we'll see. In regards to those portions. But yeah, holy moly. That I'm just like so excited. And yeah, I'll probably take the girls with me. I'm gonna let them cut school, I think. I don't know. My one daughter, she a senior, so I gotta see what she got planned, but I probably let them cut school. Yeah, I'm a ratchet mama. Like if I gotta go somewhere, they just gotta go because I can't lead them here. They gotta go with me. They gotta be tag-alongs. My baby, and she wants to go. She like, I want to go. Not to the trial, but she want to go to Vegas. Like she about to do something up in Vegas, but whatever. I'll let her go do her stuff. Okay, all right, let's get in here. I'm slowing this down. We're gonna be all behind.
Phone over at 9 a.m. tomorrow. This court hearing is concluded.
Your Honor, I apologize. I just want to be sure.
I've got to start writing, Ms. Nelson. I've got a jury back there. What is it?
I understand. I just want to make sure that we are giving Ms. Nelson the correct scope. So is it both subpoenas that have been issued by the defense?
Yes, with the correction, I went back through the order. I misspoke yesterday. I did say that everything, I'm going to just say everything comes to me in camera review, and I will review it and then release it from there. I did say yesterday that release directly to you, but I'm just going to do an in-camera review of everything. And Mr. Clifton, you can, the offer still remains. Do you want to review the download after the fact to make objections to the disclosure that I would consider prior to any disclosure?
Yes, we want to be heard prior to anything going to the defense.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. It's going to be a short turnaround then. 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Guys, I'm so curious about what's in this lady records that she don't want coming into this courtroom. They are fighting tooth and nail for this. Remember, this is the 7th time they meeting on this. The judge like, look, Ms. Nelson, I got a jury back here. You know, I think the most exciting part for me in regards to the next one with Shayna is going to be, I want to see what Jose Baez working with. I wonder, is he going to show up? Or is he going to send Ms. Nelson? I think Ms. Nelson is one of her attorneys.
Status present.
Okay, so the jury is intern. We back from lunch,
Thank
guys.
you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Have something?
Your Honor, Jesse Dreiser on behalf of the defense. Mr. Fernandez is present, Mr. Hill is present, Ms. Day is present, and Ms. Nepstad is present. I do want to put, I'm not so sure it's an objection at this point, but I do think it's important for the record that I'd like just to make a comment or proffer what could be perceived as an objection at a later date. At this point in the trial, the court has heard that the state attempted to get the lead detective, Detective Johns, to testify that he believed that the firearm became completely disposed of sometime in February or March of 2022. That was what the attempted proffer and the attempted argument by the state was. The record is clear, as there was a court reporter present for all of that. And now the state is attempting to place an argument before the jury that the gun made its way to Texas and in 2023 was reported stolen, and a police report was admitted, and that this is a ruse, that the gun was never stolen, and it was some way to establish that the firearm is in fact in Texas and disposed of and connected to John Biggerstaff. Those are completely two different state theories. And I didn't have time to brief it during the lunch, but the case law is that the state cannot go on two completely separate theories of prosecution. And I believe that is what is being attempted. I don't think it's in any way even a gray area. I think the attempted proffer was that the lead detective believed one thing, and both things cannot be true. The firearm cannot go to Texas, the firearm cannot be reported stolen in Texas, and the lead detective is under the impression, and the state tried to elicit, that it had been indefinitely disposed of in March or February of 2021. And just because the court made a ruling on the proffered evidence, I don't believe it's a distinction with a difference. You can't lose an argument and then pivot and then create a new theory of prosecution. The prosecution has to be the same. What are you citing for that proposition? I mean, I'll do some research now that you brought it to my attention, but I'm citing what I know from previous litigation experience. I do not have a case. That's why I'm not saying it's a formal objection. I'm not asking for the court to take action. I believe the case law is that they cannot move forward two separate, and I will get some case law research.
So when you're saying two theories of prosecution, are you, okay. I am familiar with that, but what I hear you saying is basically two theories related to evidence. Is that also like two actual theories of how someone committed a crime, not necessarily two theories about how a piece of evidence that may be missing, is missing, was somehow, isn't there a distinction between that case law? I mean, I'm going to look it up again. It's been a really long time, but two different theories of prosecution, meaning how someone is, how they get to prove the elements of the crime, as opposed to prosecution theories related to evidence. Does that, am I
understand exactly what you're saying. I don't think there's a difference.
Okay.
And I think that in a solicitation to commit first-degree murder and in a principle to commit first-degree murder, I don't see a distinction of the evidence in this case is that Mr. Fernandez somehow became in possession of a 10mm firearm, in which was used and given to Henry Tenen in order to commit the murder of Jared Bridegan. I do think that is what they're establishing, to attempt to establish the elements of this crime.
Okay. So what you're saying now, though, is pre-crime. And what I heard you say before, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that's post-crime. Pre-crime, I think, it's been a long time. I will look it up. But pre-crime, I think that you're right, like the way that they get to prove it. But post-crime, meaning disposal of evidence, I mean, it's often things or are argued to juries, we don't know, whatever. I've heard those arguments a million times.
I agree with that. If
So-
if their argument was, we never found the firearm, we don't know where the firearm went, but that's not what I believe that the record reflects at this moment in time. I think the record reflects this moment in time that the theory of the government is that in one theory, A, Detective Johns, the lead detective, was attempted to say that it was disposed of indefinitely in 2021, February, March. B, the gun made its way to Texas, and in a false police report, it was the serial number of that firearm was written down in a police report and reported stolen.
Okay.
Both of those things cannot be true.
Okay, has the state looked into this at all?
We have no response at this time, Your Honor. There's no reason to even discuss this at this point.
Okay.
We have not alleged any arguments. They have no idea what we're going to argue. We are presenting evidence to this jury. Two things can be true at the same time. This is a non-issue for us to bring up. When he wants to entertain an objection, I think we need to get started with this jury. Thank you.
Okay. Is it an objection, or you're just bringing it to my attention?
I'm bringing it to the court's attention that at this point, I believe that it started and that Mr. Mizrahi is right that right now I have not lodged a formal objection, but so we don't need to take this up in further argument. I wanted just the record to reflect where I thought the evidence was at this point.
Okay. All right, let's bring it in the jury. What, I'm sorry? Okay, well, we need just a moment for, can you come up and help? It's not? I'm going to step back just momentarily. I'll be right back. I apologize for the delay. I hope that you all enjoyed your lunch. Yes, okay, good. We, just to make sure everyone followed the communication rules, even though you had your device, is that correct? Yes. Okay, great. Let's get the witness back on the witness stand. All right, agent, good afternoon. You can just retake the witness stand. You're still under oath. Mr. Hill,
Thank you,
cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Agent.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you today?
Doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing well. I want to run back through some of the direct examination you provided to the state. Primarily, it started with the discovery of the truck at the residence of Jimmy Jones. And I'm going to just show you what's previously been entered as defense 56A. Is that published on your screen, sir?
Yes, sir, I can see it.
Now, when you were looking for this truck, you said that was a big part of what your duties were. You guys were all actively looking for this truck. Is that correct? Did I understand you correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this included, from my understanding, people were flying in helicopters looking for this truck. Is that your understanding?
I'm not aware of the helicopters.
You and Agent Simmons were actively looking for this vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you located in the backyard of Mr. Jones's house, but if I understood your testimony on direct examination, you used location data from Henry Tennant's device. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I want to make sure we're clear on this. This was not that it was reported, like someone called 911 to your knowledge, or Crime Stoppers,
We reviewed Google location data. Yes, sir.
not information provided by Jimmy Jones, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And from your understanding, at this part of the investigation, the truck had been published to the media sometime around March of 2022. Is that your understanding?
I would say around that time frame. Yes, sir.
And it has been blasted on local media and social media.
Yes, sir.
And you and your fellow law enforcement partners, everyone was in essence on the lookout for this vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Fair to say it was the most sought-after vehicle in Northeast Florida during that time period.
I don't know of any other one, so I would agree that it was very, we were looking for it. Yes.
Absolutely. And as you said, Ms. Stifler asked you how you got into law enforcement. And I believe your testimony was this was a passion of yours. You wanted to help the community. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you seem like the kind of guy that's exactly what you would do. Okay. You're not going to let a criminal get away with something if you can investigate it and bring it to a courtroom. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So on October 14th, you find this vehicle. Is this exactly how you found it in defense exhibit that's published on your screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Literally, you drove by with that location data and you could see it directly from the street.
From the street. Yes, sir.
And when you learned that Jimmy Jones was the resident there, is it your understanding that Mario Fernandez has no connection to that property?
I have no knowledge of him having any connection to that property. Yes, sir.
And certainly during that time period, you would be communicating with other law enforcement partners involved in the investigation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that'd be a fair statement that if it was connected to Mario Fernandez, you would have had that knowledge.
I would believe so, yes.
Because you were aware that the Potomac property was a rental property of Mr. Fernandez.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You had been to that other property before, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, once you enter this property, okay, my understanding is that Mr. Jones was absolutely cooperative.
He was cooperative. Yes, sir.
Spoke to you with no problem.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Offered for you and your fellow law enforcement officers to come into the backyard, take a look at the truck, and retrieve it.
He gave us consent to look in the truck, or to look in his backyard. Yes, sir.
Certainly. And what, in law enforcement, you guys would call that the curtilage, right? As far as the backyard, the outside of the residence.
I would say the curtilage is more of the edge of the property, not necessarily like the backyard. So maybe like the property line, the areas along the sidewalk, that's more curtilage. But the backyard, I wouldn't consider that curtilage.
Well, once he gave you that consent, okay, you could walk around that backyard as much as you wanted, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And certainly if you wanted to take a look in the trash can and the recycling bin on the side of the house, you could have done that with the consent of Mr. Jones.
If I had his consent, yes, sir.
Okay, and you did have his consent to go in the backyard, and he actually offered you consent to search his home.
A comment was made to it, but that if I wanted to go in his house, I could.
Absolutely. Any reason to think he wouldn't have let you search the entire backyard had you chosen to do that?
I don't think there's any reason to think he wouldn't have.
Okay. Now, at this point, you had learned that Mr. Jones was a family friend of Mr. Tennant, correct?
After recovering the truck, or locating the truck, I should
And
say.
you were there at the property,
That's when I learned he was a family, they've known each other for a while. Yes, sir.
and you learned that Mr. Jones was not a mechanic.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that vehicle wasn't pushed in that backyard because it was going to receive any type of repair work.
Yes, sir.
And I want to make sure the jury's clear. Mr. Jones is not like a work-from-home mechanic.
He is not, no, sir.
And that truck was not pushed into that backyard because it was anticipated that Mr. Jones was going to do any type of repair on that truck.
Correct.
As far as you understood, that truck was pushed in that backyard by Henry Tenen with the intent of it being stored in that backyard for however long.
Mr. Jones gave a statement multiple times of how long he was okay with having it there based on the fact that other people had done that and he'd been through it before. And he didn't want it left there.
Months, though. Could be there for months, is your understanding.
Yes, sir.
And it had been there for several months, is your understanding.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you only located it because of the data from Henry Tenen's phone after his arrest.
Yes, sir.
Now, once you received consent to go in this backyard, okay, would you agree that locating this truck was a major break in this investigation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Aside from the driving while license suspended arrest of Henry Tenen, which we all understood was to further the homicide investigation. Is that your understanding?
It was part of it, yes, sir.
But now the truck, which had been blasted in the media since March of 2022, has now been located in October. That is the next huge break in this case. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But at this time, and even to this day, no murder weapon had been recovered.
Correct, sir.
And you work for alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives.
Yes, sir.
Okay, ATF. And it goes without saying that part of your job is involved in investigating firearms, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Not only here in state court, but across the street at the federal courthouse
Yes, sir.
with the U.S. Attorney's Office, and as Ms. Stifler said, you work for the Department of Justice.
Yes, ma'am. Or, sir. Pardon.
Take orders basically from the President of the United States.
There's a chain of command, sir.
Absolutely, okay. But you investigate firearms and you try to make sure they're not in the hands of people that should not have them,
Yes, sir.
okay, including convicted felons,
Yes, sir.
okay? So now you've located this truck. Huge missing piece of the puzzle, but yet the murder weapon is still missing. And I'm sure in your training, your experience, I believe you said you've been an ATF agent for approximately 18 years at this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You certainly had other law enforcement officers show up on the scene that afternoon, correct?
Yes, sir.
Even Mr. Jones commented, how many cops were there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jacksonville Sheriff's Office,
Yes, sir.
Jacksonville Beach,
Yes, sir.
ATF.
Yes, sir.
Am I missing any other agencies that were there?
I believe that was all, sir.
Okay. Safe to say it was dozens of officers,
Not dozens, no, sir.
a lot,
I'd say approximate 10.
okay? But enough people that if you wanted to, you certainly could go in that backyard and look in the bushes to see if a firearm has been thrown in the bushes.
Yes, sir.
Okay? You could have looked in the trash cans and in the recycling bin if you chose to.
If we, yes, sir, we had that opportunity.
And I have not been to this particular property, but by looking at the picture, it looks like it may even have a crawl space underneath the house. But if there is a crawl space, certainly with the consent of Mr. Jones, you or fellow officers could look underneath the house to see if there's a firearm.
Yes, sir.
Okay? You guys could bring out metal detectors and search the property to see if a firearm has been buried somewhere in this backyard.
That is an option, sir. Yes.
Certainly. Something that happens, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in your long experience as a law enforcement officer, certainly there's three ways you can search a property, right? You can do it by consent.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can do it based upon a search warrant, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what you did receive in this particular case, to retrieve the truck,
Yes, sir.
a search warrant. Even though you had consent, you guys took that extra step.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you also have exigent circumstances, meaning if you're afraid that there could be destruction of evidence, you can also enter a property and search.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But in this case, you didn't need to exercise exigent circumstances or get a warrant. Okay. You could go back because Mr. Jones gave consent.
He gave consent for his backyard. Yes, sir.
And they even have dogs that are trained to search for firearms and other contraband, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'm assuming you working for the federal government, you certainly have access to so many different resources if you believe they're necessary and you want to utilize them. Is that a fair statement?
We have access to resources. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Okay. But in this particular case, for whatever reason, chose not to exercise any of those resources or the consent of Mr. Jones in order to search inside of that property, correct?
At that point in time, we were concerned with securing the truck. We had consent. I know that a warrant was being drafted. I didn't know the status of the warrant at that time. So when I was talking with Mr. Jones, again, I mentioned earlier I was building rapport, talking with him, and wanted to make sure that he understood that, we were focused on the truck. This was the first time that Mr. Jones had come up in the investigation, and, based on the fact that he was speaking with us, his answers were consistent, and the fact that there was no attempt to hide the truck, that it was clearly visible from the street, we use those facts to kind of figure out where, or to maybe take where Mr. Jones was in this.
Sure. In 18 years of law enforcement experience, it's not uncommon for someone who is hiding something to be overly cooperative with law enforcement. You've encountered that before.
Not very often, sir.
But it does happen.
I haven't been so fortunate, but
But you certainly, it's not a unique circumstance where someone is so cooperative, they say, please, you can search my vehicle. They end up searching the vehicle and they find a kilo of cocaine, or they find guns or a body.
yes, that happens, sir, yes.
So just because somebody is cooperative doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to find something that would be fruitful for your investigation.
That's correct, sir.
And you would agree, we have no idea what could have been found in that property.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware that just a few weeks ago on July 30th, FDLE produced a report doing ballistics testings that had Jimmy Jones' name listed on the report?
Okay, wait. Let me see your sidebar.
I understand the state asked you about the 10-millimeter firearm. And I believe your testimony is that you either had only encountered it once in your career and that you testified, I believe, that you believed it was a rare firearm. Is that correct?
I believe I testified that I have not come across one outside of this investigation.
But for the last 2 years, you've been a firearms instructor up in Brunswick, Georgia. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you aware that in this particular case, it's been alleged that a Glock 10-millimeter was the homicide weapon?
I'm aware of that, yes, sir.
Are you aware that Glock has been producing 3 models of a 10-millimeter as far back as 1991?
I understand that Glock makes a 10-millimeter pistol. I am not versed in the history of the Glock 10-millimeter pistol.
Are you aware they make 3 different models of that?
At this moment, yes, sir.
Okay. And you understand Glock to be a well-known firearms maker?
Yes, sir.
They produce lots of firearms.
Yes, sir.
No dispute, they're probably one of the most popular firearms manufacturers in the United States.
Yes, sir.
Law enforcement carries Glocks, many occasions.
Typically a 9-millimeter, maybe a 40. Yes, sir.
The 10 millimeters are also produced.
They are produced.
Sure. So you would agree it's not necessarily the rarest firearm out there?
I believe I said it's not very common. I didn't specify to the rarity of it. I just said in my own personal experience, this is the first time I've come across one.
The state asked you about your interview Were you aware that during the investigation, law enforcement went to Beach's pawn shop on 3rd Street in Jacksonville Beach to look for 10 millimeters?
I believe they canvassed different gun stores. Yes, sir.
Are you aware that at just one gun store, they located 6 purchases of a 10 millimeter?
Sir, I think if you were to put that in perspective of all the guns sold in a gun store, I don't think it's that significant.
How many gun stores do you think are in Jacksonville?
I couldn't tell you, sir.
Would you agree there's more than one?
I would agree. Yes, sir.
So to have 6 at one, that's not necessarily insignificant.
Again, you're talking about a numbers game where you had to put that in relation of all the other guns sold.
Sure. We'll let the jury make that determination. Now, Mr. Agent Stengel, you testified that you interviewed John Biggerstaff, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Part of that investigation was based upon the fact that at one time he owned a Glock 10 millimeter, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your understanding that he became a convicted felon in 2017?
About that time, yes, sir.
Okay. And you at the time were not a firearms instructor, you were an active agent for the ATF, is that correct?
In 2017?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you understand the federal system. You've worked in the federal court before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you been a case agent before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you understand that when a person is arrested or indicted and they have to participate in pretrial release, as Mr. Biggerstaff did, he had to turn over his firearms.
Yes, sir.
And I believe the state showed you a firearm inventory list. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, may I approach the evidence?
Yes.
An agent, the state showed you what has been marked as Exhibit 190. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
Can you recognize that inventory list, do you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now, I know that's handwritten, but your understanding is that would be provided to pretrial release?
I believe it's pretrial services. Yes, sir.
And ultimately, the state kind of alluded like nobody goes to the house and searches to make sure they've turned over those firearms. Is that your understanding?
That is my understanding.
But if a federal magistrate judge orders you to turn over your firearms, you would expect they would follow that order.
I would expect, yes, sir.
There's consequences if you do not.
Yes, sir.
What would be a consequence to your knowledge if you violate the terms of your pretrial release?
You would be incarcerated.
Until such time as your case is ultimately resolved.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Biggerstaff, to your knowledge, he was never incarcerated after being released on pretrial release, was he?
I thought he did serve some time.
But he didn't violate his pretrial release, did he?
Not that I'm aware of.
And this inventory that was produced, if you can do your best, I know it's handwritten, but if you can see if you can find the Glock 10 millimeter on that list and identify by what number is associated with it.
Looks like it'd be item number 7, Glock 40, which would be the model. I honestly can't make out looks like 4 characters next to it, but it looks like the serial number is BBGL, possibly 770.
Okay. And if you can, read for the jury what is number 6.
Glock 27. Looks like there's a 40 next to it, and it looks like the serial number maybe RBP38 and possibly a 6.
Okay. Would you agree that number 6 and number 7 are written right on top of each other?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, the serial number for number 6 and number 7 are almost right on top of each other.
They're on adjacent lines, yes, sir.
But pretty close.
Pretty close, yes, sir.
Now, Agent, it was asked on direct examination. 1 second. Agent, my law partner corrected me. Mr. Biggerstaff, from my understanding, did violate pretrial release, but it was by way of a drug charge. Are you familiar with that?
Now you mention it, yes, sir.
Not a firearms possession charge, is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
I'm showing you that same affidavit. Can you see that on your screen, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You said it was number 7 that you identified as the 10 millimeter.
Yes, sir.
And number 6 was a Glock 27.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to come back to that in just a moment. But it's understood that Mr. Biggerstaff owned a 10 millimeter in 2016, got in trouble with federal authorities, had to turn those firearms over to someone outside of his home.
Yes, sir.
That's how we got this inventory, correct?
Yes, sir.
Your understanding is those went into the possession of other Biggerstaff family members.
I believe we were told that Juan Biggerstaff took the guns.
Now, if John Biggerstaff had come back into possession of those firearms, he would be violating both state and federal law, correct?
Yes, sir.
And certainly if he was caught, If he was prosecuted in state court, your understanding is that's a 3-year mandatory prison sentence. Is that your understanding?
I'm sorry, I'm not overly versed on the sentencing for Florida law.
Certainly could go to prison in federal court as well.
Yes, sir.
No dispute that had he been caught with a firearm, he could be prosecuted in both state court and federal court.
State or federal.
I'm sorry?
State or federal.
State or federal, yes, sir. Okay. To your knowledge, he's never been arrested for a firearms possession charge since his original felony offense in 2016.
Correct, sir.
And to arrest an individual, what do you need as far as level of proof? Just to make an arrest.
Probable cause.
And you would agree that's a much lower standard than having someone convicted in a court of law.
Yes, sir.
You just basically have to have a little more based upon the totality of circumstances in order to arrest him.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, sir. In order to arrest Mr. Biggerstaff, you would just need probable cause that he was in possession of a firearm.
I would have the probable cause, yes, sir.
And at this time, he's never been arrested to your knowledge for possession of a firearm.
To my knowledge, no, sir.
The state asked you that when you went to his residence, whether or not you saw any evidence of, I think, gun possession. You testified to this gun cabinet on the back porch.
Yes, sir.
And you basically said it was kind of a beat up, wouldn't even close anymore.
That's my remembering of it, yes, sir.
Had garden tools in the back of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Certainly just repurposed is what it appeared.
Yes, sir.
Okay. He didn't get arrested for that, did he?
No, sir.
Because that's not considered a firearm component, ammunition, or a firearm.
Correct.
Okay. So he could have that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Correct, sir.
Where it came from, you have no idea.
I believe he's had it. Correct.
Whether or not it was returned to him empty and just placed on his back porch, you have no evidence, say one way or another.
Correct.
Certainly has no relation to Mario Fernandez.
Not to my knowledge. In reference to the gun cabinet, right?
Yes, sir.
No.
And with regards to Mr. Biggerstaff, John, your understanding is that he testified, or it was provided, he's not given a firearm to Mario Fernandez.
I'm not aware of Mr. Biggerstaff's testimony, sir.
You aware that he was offered immunity?
I believe so.
Okay. Can you explain to the court what immunity means from your understanding as a law enforcement officer?
That if he had committed a crime, he wouldn't be held criminally responsible for it.
That he would not be held criminally responsible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in this particular case, Mario Fernandez is being prosecuted for first-degree murder, correct?
Yes, sir.
A capital offense.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Biggerstaff, if he was involved in that, could either be charged as a principal or as an accessory, correct?
Could be. Yes, sir.
And he's been offered immunity, meaning that if he had been involved in that case at all, had he provided a firearm to Mr. Fernandez, he would be immune from prosecution.
Yes, sir.
Meaning that he could tell Ms. Stifler and Mr. Mizrahi, yes, I gave a gun to him, and he would be held completely, he'd be okay. He wouldn't be prosecuted.
Depending on the terms of the immunity, yes, sir.
As long as he told the truth.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And your understanding is he did not accept that immunity.
That's my understanding, yes, sir.
To your knowledge, he has not implicated Mr. Fernandez.
No, he has not.
You further interviewed Juan Biggerstaff, correct?
Correct.
And he was a law enforcement officer in Texas?
Yes.
Did he provide any information that furthered your investigation into Mario Fernandez?
No, sir.
He also was offered immunity. Is that your understanding?
I believe so.
And again, same as his father, had he had any involvement in a first-degree murder, he would be immune from prosecution if he cooperated with law enforcement.
Yes, sir.
But ultimately, the jury will decide his credibility, both of these gentlemen. But your understanding, they provided no information that would further the prosecution of Mr. Fernandez.
I believe we received just more conflicting statements.
And the jury, ultimately, you would agree, will decide whether or not they're credible or not.
That is up to them, yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Biggerstaff, Juan, was a law enforcement officer in Texas at the time of that interview?
You said Juan?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I believe the state elicited that in June of 2023, let me back up. When you interviewed Juan Biggerstaff at the state attorney's office, he agreed to wear a wire. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
A recording device, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So not really what I'm wearing, but a concealed recording device.
Yes, sir.
Okay, he actually had 2 of those on him. Is
Yes,
that your
sir.
understanding? Mm-hmm. And at the time, he was an undercover narcotics officer in Texas.
I believe he was a narcotics detective. His capacity, I'm not aware of.
He was an experienced law enforcement officer.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And he agreed to cooperate with his fellow law enforcement partners here in Jacksonville.
He was resistant
To wear a wire against his father,
to cooperate.
but he did cooperate.
He was here, sir.
Well, let's be clear. He came to the state attorney's office, correct?
Yes, sir.
You and the state attorney's office and fellow law enforcement asked him to wear 2 recording devices and to go speak with his father in furtherance of the search of a 10 millimeter, correct?
Yes, sir.
And ultimately, he did agree to do that.
He did do that.
He may have been resistant to wear a wire and go speak to his own father, but he ultimately agreed to do it.
He agreed to do it. Yes, sir.
You made sure that he didn't have an opportunity to contact his father prior to leaving the state attorney's office with those recording devices, correct?
I believe precautions were taken.
As to whether or not, as the state tried to elicit on direct, that he somehow gave any type of indication to his father, you don't have any direct evidence that he tipped off his father,
Not directly, sir.
okay? You weren't there, correct?
I was not there.
You just got to listen to the recording when he brought it back.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And he did record.
Yes.
Whether or not the devices captured everything or not, whether you can blame that on one bigger step, you don't have any evidence to support that. You would agree with that.
I just have the end result. Yes, sir.
But ultimately, didn't gather any information that was related to Mario Fernandez.
Just that the guns were supposed to show up on, well,
Well,
I'm sorry.
no, my question specifically, no. The state can't just tell you what to say by shaking
No,
your
no,
head.
I apologize. I started to say something. I'm sorry, sir. Ma'am.
Let me have the jury step out for just a moment. All right, please let the record reflect that the agents off the witness stand. Mr. Hill, you started to address something. I'm going to give you the proper venue, not in front of the witness, not in front of the jury.
Yes, Your Honor. The witness went to start answering a question and stopped himself. I observed the state attorney's office shaking their head, giving acknowledgement to the witness in front of the jury to answer a question in a particular way. Entirely improper. They cannot direct a witness on what to say. And that's exactly what they were doing. There's video cameras throughout the courtroom. Your Honor can watch a replay yourself. That was the indication I got. The witness was smart enough to stop, and I can hear Mr. Mizrahi speaking, and I would ask for you not to interrupt.
Okay.
I would ask for the defense counsel to address the court and not me.
I want you both to address me, okay? And then I'll let the state respond. Was there head shaking? I was reading something, so I didn't see anything.
Yes, we're sitting here looking at each other, shaking our heads. Mr. Hill is asking a line of question that opens up the doors to a lot of answers. And the witness is looking at everybody, myself and Mr. Hill and Mr. Mizrahi, asking if he can answer. I'm gesticulating to draw his attention to the court. The court is the only one who can answer whether a witness can answer a question or not. I don't think Mr. Hill can ask a question not like the answer that's being given and cut him off. But, I mean, this whole line of questioning it's opening up the door.
What do you believe is implicating?
I think that if he's asking him questions about, he's opening the door to what was said on this wire. He's asking, can I?
Okay, so that's what I'm asking. I'm also, I don't know what the evidence is. And so was he instructed not to go down a certain line or say something?
In pretrials, I like all witnesses advise them as to the rules of evidence, including hearsay. And Your Honor's already seen this witness once on his own bring up. I don't want to get into hearsay. I think he's unsure of how to answer. If I am asking him questions, of course I can say, of course you can answer. But if Mr. Hill asks him a question and he's responsively answering the question, he can continue to answer. And he's stopping himself because he's looking back at Mr. Hill and looking at us. And I don't know if you want to instruct him that he needs to draw his attention to the court and ask the court whether he can answer or not, but
So, okay, let me address that one point in particular. I need a heads up. I don't know, he's just a name on a list for me. I don't know what his involvement is or what he's reviewed. If there is an instruction saying, hey, you cannot get into this line because if there's something sensitive or he's walking a fine line, I kind of need to know, because generally speaking, what the process would be is I would tell the witness, look at me, ask for a break or whatever, and then we can address some issue that wouldn't cause a potential mistrial. And so, Mr. Hill, with that explanation, do you believe that was what's going on, or you think that it was delivery of an answer? I don't know what's been presented to the jury as he shows up and there's an F-150 there and he didn't search, and then but now the cross-examination is getting into investigative techniques, and I don't know his level of involvement. Is that a fair assessment of what's going on, or are you still maintaining that somehow they're trying to signal him? Because then I'm going to ask the witness.
So, Your Honor, if you recall from the direct examination, he went into his discussion of when Juan Biggerstaff wore a wire to go and meet with his father.
Yes.
My line of question, and I believe my question was, you did not gather any information related to Mario Fernandez, not what was said on the wire. It was simply you didn't gather any information. It was similar to my previous questions about the property, about the truck, that you gathered no information related to Mario Fernandez. The witness started to testify, and he did stop himself. That's when I saw the state attorney's office seemingly acknowledging to him that he could continue his answer, and as they stated, that they believed I had opened the door to discuss the contents of the wire, which is absolutely not what the question was. It was, did you gather information related to Mario Fernandez?
Okay. From your response, Mr. Hill, are you saying that there could have been some, like he's looking to say, is this okay from the state? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not going to go as far as to say that the state attorney's office was seeking to put words in his mouth.
Right, but you're seeking his approval whether to go forward or not.
What I observed was him, which he's done several times, even in his direct examination, where he was seeking for what to say, either internally or externally.
Okay.
I simply observed the state attorney's office nodding their head affirmatively. Whether they're doing it to each other, all I can say is that I have 16 people sitting in this box and a witness up here, and they're right beside the jurors. That's why I wanted to make sure that that was shut down.
All right. Okay, we're going to stop. I think that I'm going to chalk this up to a miscommunication. I'm going to bring the agent back in. He has been a very careful witness, and I've said it multiple times. Like he appears to be having some type of internal communication with himself, like trying to follow rules or whatever. So I'm gonna let him. Agent, if you'll come all the way forward. All right, if you could just pause right there for a moment. I've said this about you. You seem to be very conscientious and being very careful with your wording. Is that a fair assessment? Sure, it's a habit, it's okay. So, okay, all right, yes, that's fine. I'm going to ask this based on what's happened during the trial. Do you feel like you've mentioned, let me say this, you've mentioned the word hearsay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, are you trying to avoid that some way in your testimony? Obviously, you might be.
Yes, I'm trying to not state anything that I was told during the investigation, because I understood that I'm not allowed to do that.
Okay, so, which is very, like I said, you're very conscientious, all right? But what's happening is that, and what I need you to do, and it's fine, and I appreciate your careful, observant of the rules, but if you have a situation where you believe that whatever the question is, would call for you to do something that in your mind would be impermissible. I don't know what you discussed and what you didn't discuss. All you have to do is turn to me and say, Your Honor, may I? Okay? And then I can make a ruling. And then I think everything will stay kind of in bounds. And then the lawyers, if I have a question, I'll bring them up to sidebar and I will hear from them. But I don't want you to feel like you can't seek court intervention if you believe that whatever you're going to say. A lot of times this happens with detectives, hypothetically, where they might think that they comment on a constitutional right, or they comment and they're apprehensive and they know the implications of blurting something out, which I appreciate, okay? But if your honest answer to their focused question is something that you believe through your training and your experience being, a federal agent, if you think that is going to cause some concern for you, you can seek my approval. So you need to avoid kind of looking to the state for approval, because they don't say yay or nay about anything that goes on in court about what comes in and what doesn't. They have to ask me. So I'm the ultimate decision maker in that process. And then it gives the defense an opportunity to be heard if they want to be heard related to whether it should come in and come out. But if it's a unilateral glance and then you continue because they say so, it creates an issue. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I'm not getting on you, but I just wanted to let you know I am an avenue that if you don't have to be so careful and reflective, if your natural answer is X and you believe it caused a problem, you can say, Your Honor, may I? And then that's a perfect way for me to intervene appropriately. So would any side like to say anything to the agent before we continue?
Nothing.
As far as his testimony related to that issue?
No, Your Honor, I believe the court instructed him appropriately.
Okay, so again, me and you, we're on the same line.
Yes, ma'am.
You look at me, say, may I? I'll look at them, and then we'll handle it from there. So don't feel so apprehensive. Just, we can keep going, but I want you to know I am a resource for you if there is an issue with your testimony. I know I'm learning a lot. I have limited information about the case prior to trial. I'm learning the full scope of whatever you've done, kind of real time with the jury. Okay, so it's not like I have some kind of working knowledge of what you did and didn't do, and I don't know what you're trying to stay away from and what you're not. I learn it from the lawyers. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right. So we can get back started.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Hill, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Agent, where we left off was that Juan Biggerstaff had worn a wire in communications with his father. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And when he returned either to the state attorney's office or to where did he actually return after that recording session?
I think we met with him out in public.
After you had an opportunity to reconvene, did your investigative efforts provide anything specific to Mario Fernandez?
Not that I recall.
The state asked you about Juan Biggerstaff and a June 2023 police report that was filed. Do you recall that?
June 2023, yes, sir.
And that was in regards to Juan Biggerstaff's undercover police vehicle being stolen from his home?
I believe it was his police vehicle, yes, sir.
And that it was reported that several firearms were stolen out of that vehicle?
I believe it was 2, sir.
Okay. And one of those was a Glock 27?
Yes, sir.
But it bared the serial number on what was on the report of the Glock 40, the 10 millimeter.
Yes, sir.
Now you're looking at that inventory that I showed you earlier that was produced after Mr. Biggerstaff was federally indicted?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I asked you to identify where the Glock 40, the 10 millimeter was, and that was number 7, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And number 6, what is that?
That is the Glock 27.
Okay. And that's what you understood was reported stolen, correct?
The Glock 27, yes.
And you would agree that the serial number for the Glock 27 and the Glock 10 millimeter are right on top of each other?
Well, real quick, just to clarify, you have a Glock 27 that was reported stolen. If you're saying that that's the same one in this inventory without the serial number, I can't discern that.
And I'm not asking you to make that determination.
Okay.
You've confirmed that a Glock 27 was reported stolen by Juan Biggerstaff in Texas.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And on the report, it listed the serial number for the Glock 10 millimeter.
Yes, sir.
And you would agree on this inventory that a Glock 27 is listed immediately above the Glock 10 millimeter.
Yes, sir.
And ultimately, the jury can make a determination as to whether or not those tie to each other, but you would agree they're right on top of each other, including the serial numbers, in some occasion, almost touching each other.
Yes, sir.
You understood that Mr. Biggerstaff remained a law enforcement officer past June of 2023.
I do not know the date that he separated from his agency.
And ultimately, Juan Biggerstaff has not been arrested in connection with this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
I have a moment with counsel, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you, Agent. I don't have any further questions for you.
Redirect.
Do you need this?
Sure, I'll take it, thanks. Agent Stengel, Jimmy Jones was never a suspect or never discussed as a suspect between you and members of a homicide team. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Hill asked you a bunch of questions about some legal issues between the federal system and the state system. You are obviously aware that as a law enforcement officer or a state law enforcement officer or state prosecutor cannot give federal immunity.
Correct.
Mr. Hill asked you a bunch of questions about a police report.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you some follow-up ones. You mentioned in your direct that members of ATF had spoken with Juan Biggerstaff prior to your interview with John Biggerstaff in November of 2022.
I'm sorry, one more time.
You mentioned other ATF agents in Texas had conducted an interview of Juan Biggerstaff prior to your interview with John Biggerstaff or Mr. Juan Biggerstaff
Yes.
wearing a wire.
Yes.
And those same agents in Texas were the ones that alerted you to this police report in June of 2023.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hill asked you about some details of that police report, so I want to ask you some clarifications on that. The police report Mr. Juan Biggerstaff filed was not with his own agency. It was with a separate law enforcement agency.
Correct. The Dallas Police Department.
And Mr. Juan Biggerstaff reported that his patrol car and 2 firearms had been taken from his residence.
Correct.
Where did they locate that vehicle?
I believe it was just down the street. It was same street, looked to be maybe a couple blocks down by the numbers.
And on that police report, he specifically gave the serial number of that Glock 10 millimeter as having been stolen from his vehicle. This BBGL770.
Yes.
And he did not contact anyone involved in the Jared Bridegan homicide about this police report or about him writing this serial number on any reports.
That's correct.
You found out because ATF in Texas contacted you because his agency opened an investigation into him.
Yes.
And Mr. Hill asked you that whether Mr. Juan Biggerstaff remained employed at his law enforcement agency after this incident. He did, but he was actually placed on administrative leave pending investigation.
Yes.
And members of ATF, the agents that had previously interviewed him, went and conducted follow-up interviews on this matter.
Yes, they continued to interview him.
And Mr. Juan Biggerstaff, in fact, retained a criminal defense attorney for those interviews.
Yes.
And Mr. Juan Biggerstaff no longer works as a sworn law enforcement officer.
That is my understanding.
If I'm-
Yes.
No further questions. Thank you, Agent.
Any follow-up?
Briefly, may I say at defense table?
Okay.
Agent, Juan Biggerstaff did not report that a 10 millimeter Glock 40 Gen 4 was stolen. He reported a Glock 27. Is that correct?
A Glock 27 was stolen, yes.
And a Glock 27 is not a 10 millimeter, correct?
No, sir.
And as far as Mr. Biggerstaff and his employment with the law enforcement agency in Texas, he remained employed until he moved back to Jacksonville. Is that your understanding?
Again, I'm not sure when he separated from his agency.
And as far as when his vehicle was stolen, is it your understanding he reported it to the agency in which the jurisdiction where his home and vehicle were actually located?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so he actually reported it to the correct law enforcement office in the jurisdiction where the vehicle was and where he resided at the time.
I believe, yes, that is true. I think even the responding officers felt like something didn't add up in that.
But again, he reported a crime in the jurisdiction in which the crime occurred.
I'm thinking he did. I don't know the jurisdictional lines of where he lived.
Understood. But Agent, as you sit here, you have no reason to believe he reported it to a jurisdiction outside of where that crime occurred.
That's that's what I would believe.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. May this witness be excused.
Yes, Your Honor, subject to recall.
All right. Agent, do you understand what that means?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. You can step down now. State recall its next witness.
Calls Carlos Fong.
Carlos Fong. Mr. Fong, good afternoon. Come all the way forward.
Yeah, because of the timing, I had Mr. Fong come directly from work, so
Okay.
apologize for the dress.
No problem, no problem. All right, raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Sir, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
All right, right this way, okay? Watch your step. There's a slight incline there. All right, you may proceed.
May it please the court. Please introduce yourself to the jury.
I am Carlos Fong, last name Phuong.
Thanks. It's like you've done this before. What do you do for a living, sir?
Work for ADT as an install tech.
All right, get right to the chase. Do you know a person named Mario Fernandez?
I do.
How do you know him?
Friends from high school.
Do you see him here in court?
I do.
You say where? And you're
All right.
pointing at the right side of the courtroom? Sitting next to his lawyers?
Yes.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. So you've known him for a long time. I want to turn back to the 2021, 2022 time period. Did you know his wife, Shanna Gardner?
I knew her because they were married. I didn't say I knew her, but I know her by acquaintance.
Did you ever speak to Shanna Gardner outside the defendant's presence?
No, we were always together.
Were you aware of the fact that Shanna Gardner had an ex-husband and children with that ex-husband?
I did.
Please explain to the jury what you learned from Ms. Gardner in Mr. Fernandez's presence about the relationship Ms. Gardner had with her ex-husband.
The relationship was definitely rocky.
Okay.
Your Honor, it's an adoptive admission.
Okay, let me see you at sidebar.
May it please the court.
Yes.
So, Mr. Fung, going to those conversations that you had with Shanna Gardner and Mario Fernandez in front of you, were you describing for the jury the types of things that Ms. Gardner was complaining about with regard to her child custody?
Just basically the issue they were having with the custody battles that were going back and forth, the family court, things like that.
Well, describe it for the jury, what you remember.
Oh, as far as what she had told me?
Sure.
Oh, okay. She said that they were going through a nasty divorce when I first met her. That, things with her and Jared weren't well. That it wasn't pretty, mainly because of the child custody.
And did Mario Fernandez seem to go along with the flow, so to speak? Did he complain as much about Jared, or was it mostly Shanna Gardner?
Mainly Shanna. We never actually talked about Jared at all. I've asked him about him, but he never told me like, oh, this or that. No, it was never brought up.
In those conversations with Ms. Gardner where Mr. Fernandez was present, he would just kind of go along with what Ms. Gardner was saying.
Yeah, he didn't really say anything. I mean, it was mainly her talking.
Understood. And so knowing that, then I want to turn your attention a little bit about what your knowledge of Mr. Fernandez was before he met Ms. Gardner.
I'm sorry, let me tell you.
We couldn't hear because of the cut. What was Mr. Fernandez's job before he met Ms. Gardner?
He was in the military.
Okay.
And he had
after military?
Sorry?
After the military?
After the military, just in jobs. I think he was working at Black Hive for a little bit. He was working at Bruno's. So nothing solid. Yeah.
Do you know when he met Ms. Gardner where he was working?
He was working at Black Hive.
And what was he doing there?
He was doing maintenance, odds and things for the owner.
Okay, is that a gym?
Yes, CrossFit gym.
Okay, and that's where Ms. Gardner was working as a coach as well.
I believe so. I don't know that.
You don't know, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't want you to speculate. And during the course of the next couple of years, did you know if Mr. Fernandez kept that job at the gym?
On and off. He would be doing different things for the owner, but it wasn't like a full-time thing.
Did you know Mr. Fernandez to have any sort of career?
No.
I want to now turn your attention to subsequent to Henry Tennant's arrest. There were a couple of phone calls that you placed to the defendant, Mr. Fernandez. Do you remember those?
Yes, I do.
And you've had the opportunity to look at them, correct? Listen to them.
Yes, in depth, yes.
Did you know you were being recorded?
Oh, absolutely not.
And did, as far as you know, did Mr. Fernandez know he was being recorded?
As far as I know, no.
Okay. I'm going to play the two calls. I think the jury will be able to figure out, just based on your accent, a slight accent, who's who. But I may have to stop you in the middle. The first one, I got to get the numbers. The first one you're going to publish is going to be State's Exhibit 188, which is also referred to as call number 557.
What's up, my man? What the fuck is up, ho? What's up, Tim? Where you been? Where you been at, cuz? Hey. So, yeah. Just checking on you, brother. What the fuck is going on with Shanna?
Well, she's across the country right now because they moved out there. Because right. I told you, right? We separated.
I know. I remember you told me you got separated, but I don't know. Ruthie called me asking me about what happened with Sharon. I was like, I don't know what the fuck are you talking about. I said, I know they split, but I guess the news is after. I don't know what you saw. I didn't see nothing on the news, but I guess they're saying something about they think that she might have caused the whole thing about her ex-husband and shit. I don't think so, but.
Nah, man. Nah.
I don't know what the story is. I said,
yeah.
Mario, okay, I say, that's why I know he's straight. He's just
yeah, bro. Like right now, actually, I'm here in Jax right now because I'm remodeling the room to my rental property, or I'm remodeling the bathroom.
Right. You talking about your dad's old house? Or you talking about
yeah, that one. Yep, that one. So
where are you staying, dog? Where you at?
So I've been in Kissimmee, man, and because my brother's down there. So I kind of jumped at the opportunity because I had nothing left here in Jax. So I was like, fuck it, might as well go.
Right. So what's she end up doing with the house? She sold it or she just rented it out?
Yeah, we're selling it. No, we're selling it.
Oh. Okay. You still got your Tundra, or you got rid of it?
You still got my what?
You still got the Tundra, or you got rid of it?
Oh no, I still have that bad boy, bro. Come on.
I'm looking for one myself right now, dog.
Oh yeah, shit.
Yeah. I'm trying to find a TRD Pro.
Ah, okay. Hell yeah.
So, but I want that lunar gray color, that fucking off gray color. That's what
Ooh, yeah. So you saw mine, right? Because mine's all white.
I never got a chance to see it because I've been so fucking busy, bro.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah, man. I just checking on you because I was like, damn, let me check in the nigga. Make sure he didn't get. I don't think.
Nah.
I don't know. I think the news misconstrued a lot of it. I don't think Shanna or you had nothing to do with that bullshit, but.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Like, no joke. So here's the deal, brother. Like, bigger picture, we never said anything from the get-go. So because we didn't say anything, the media pushes whatever they want, however they want it, and that's what's there.
What it was is when Shanna moved, it just made it suspicious. Like, why all of a sudden her ex-husband passes, or whatever happens to him, she fucking did to go cross country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it was like almost a year later.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's been what? It's coming up close to a year later. Yeah.
It's gonna be a year. It's gonna be a year.
Right.
You know,
I know your ass ain't gonna have to do with it because you don't own nothing, that motherfucker, dude.
No.
Whatever he is on him.
Bro.
Between you and I think it's just bad karma, like we said from the get-go when I first talked to you about it.
Yeah.
Bad karma for how he treated Shanna and how he treated the kids.
I can't tell you how many times I've had a discussion with I've just had random discussions with strangers on top of that, with strangers.
Yeah.
And then I've had people that knew him when he was like younger, when he was in like high school or something like that, because he grew up here in Jax or whatever. Right. And they were like, I get it. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, now you're coming out and saying some shit, but it's just like, but the other part is a lot of those people, they belong to the church. So like, they don't want to say shit.
Right.
Like, fucking, they're not about to air out dirty laundry, whatever.
No.
And like now, I'm just, we'll wait to see what the fuck happens. Like, no one seems to have anything concrete. Everything is like this and that. Like, I'm just like, all right, cool. Like,
it seems like you always get caught up in this craziest shit, though, between the army and your personal life.
Dog. Bro, my sister literally said the same fucking thing, dog. She was like, how come you have such good luck with the most random things? And she was like, yeah, like you'll go out and you buy something, and then it's just like you'll get a discount, or you'll meet somebody and they know something, and then they have this and they have that, and you have access to all these things, and then it's like, but then other things happen, and I was like, I know exactly what you mean, and I think this is the balance of the universe when it comes to me, bro. Like, I just have to leave shit well alone, so like extremely bad shit doesn't happen. It's fucking ridiculous, dude.
It's stupid, bro. So, hey, but on a real note, on a side note, what are you averaging in your Tundra? I know you drive like a fucking madman, so see what you're averaging out of it.
So it does its best on the highway, 100%. Like, I can get close to like 470 miles to a full tank, and this is on standard gas. This is regular 87 pump gas.
Right.
And then around the city to a full tank, about 420 miles.
Yeah. What is their miles per gallon? Like, do you calculate it? Like,
no, man, I'm like between 19 to 22.
Let the record show that there's a significant talking about cars, and certainly it's been put into evidence, but I'm going to fast forward it about 7 minutes.
Okay.
From approximately 5 minutes to approximately 12 minutes.
Now I'm starting to also like stretch out his lower back and his legs. I just stretch him out, and like he gets a little like there's a little bit of pain, but then as soon as I like get him like stretched out, like you could like he's lively. Like it all comes back. He's like, oh fuck, I'm ready to move. Like, let's go.
What are you talking about now?
I don't know what we're talking about at that point. I know we jump conversations. I'm so random. So it went from trucks. I don't know where it went to from the trucks to that. I think he was talking about the dog, but I could be wrong.
Sure, go ahead.
I think so, but I can't tell you 100% what that was. That's the only thing I was talking about, stretching out his back and stuff, because Zero was older. He's a good husky-sized dog.
Okay.
So yeah, man. He's doing all right.
Yeah, that's good, man. Yeah, that's what makes me call with no bullshit with that whole situation. Because Ruth had called me about it. I said, I don't news, but I'll call him. I'll double check on my boy. I'm pretty sure he would have called me if some shit was gonna go down.
Yeah, man. I would have told my people here, like, hey, like, you know. But you never know, bro. Like, I had mentioned this, because like last year someone told, bro, I had people apologizing to me because the way our family got painted, it was like they're looking at Shanna for obvious reasons, and then they're looking at me for obvious reasons. But then on top of that, they were like harping on stuff, and then like I had strangers apologize to me for media racism. Like people were on social media being racist towards me, and I don't watch the news, so I didn't pay attention to it.
That's okay.
You know, it's like I was just like, well, you know, like all I could say was like, well, racism is real. You know, like I live with it, I understand it. What I don't want to happen is some bullshit for whatever reason happens, and then they look at me on just the inclination because I'm fucking Hispanic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden I have to fucking go through this round robin circle of bullshit because hey, well,
the military,
you fit this profile and stereotype. So fucking now we gotta do shit with you, and it's just like, like that's the one thing, dude. I haven't talked to Ruth in years, bro.
Yeah, I know.
How's she doing?
Okay, obviously the entire call is played in, but I don't think the state needs to publish any more of that. We'll now go to the second call, and I guess I didn't make it clear, Mr. Fung asked a question. These calls took place January 24th and January 25th of 2023, approximately.
Sounds about right, yeah.
We'll now publish State's Exhibit 189.
Oh, hold on, brother. Hey, what's up, man?
You in private?
What's that?
You in private?
Yeah.
So, I guess something broke out today about that whole situation that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So, they arrested some guy that used to rent the Northside house.
I know.
I was like, what the? So I guess he thought it was you. Because I think the motive was after you, not her husband, her ex-husband.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Or, oh, dude, no way. You think so?
No, but he rented your house, so he must have had some he probably didn't pay you, kicked him out or something like that.
I mean,
remember this, there's a possibility of that area.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no way though. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I haven't pulled up anything. I haven't read anything.
No, I don't.
You know.
So, hold on.
But
I'll give you the gist. Hold on. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
So the gist of it is basically the person they found was he stayed at that Northside rental property.
Right.
For you and what's his face. So all of a sudden so he's the one that did it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, but the only way he would have to you, because obviously he's been. This is weird. I'm just speculating at this point. So I think of he knows where y'all live because everything's public record now. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So he probably thought that was you, but not realizing who it was. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think if you wait for your console, but they showed a picture of him, older black guy. That's all.
Yeah. And well, here's the thing though. Like he was working for me for a bit. like after it.
Oh, really? For real?
Yeah, yeah. Like he helped me. Like that's a fucking quarter-acre lot, and like he did a lot of fucking work, dude. Like he fucking took down trees and shit and fucking mowed that bitch, and then he did roofing. Like, so I don't fucking get it.
So between you and I, you never talked to him about Shanna. You don't know nothing about Shanna's ex-husband, right?
No, like no. Like they're. I'm trying to. I mean, I'm honestly trying to remember, like, I have to like think of like any recollection of
Right.
of any conversations I'm gonna have with the dude. But it's like,
but you wouldn't have any pictures of him or anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
no.
You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't know anything about that.
Yeah, no,
It's just
fuck no.
crazy. It's just crazy. All of a sudden, they go to blaming Shanna for it, and all of a sudden, next day, literally they broke out saying they arrested somebody for his murder. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this bullshit? Yeah,
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, but I just wanted to.
Yeah. 100%.
What the
100%.
fuck is going on, dude? I'm so twisted right now.
Yeah. Like I'm waiting to see how it's gonna turn out because I already have media reaching out to me and stuff, and it's just like there's nothing for me to say right now because there's nothing for me to say. No, I'm not going to.
You have no
Yeah.
motive, dude.
No, fuck no, bro. Like, it's just another day in the shit show, dude.
Yeah, I'm just giving you a heads up, because they're gonna come because all the way they're portraying it, basically is like, okay, this guy used to stay at your house. Either he was one or two things. Either they're gonna play it like he was mad at you because he left the house, he couldn't afford it no more, and you kicked him out, or they're saying that because you housed him, that you had something to do it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, and that was actually like, because I remember it was like, bro, it was like October or maybe before that, because after COVID and everything else, this was a fucking shit show. Dude, actually, yeah, it was after COVID that everything was a shit show, and like I was working with him to like, all right, well, if you don't have rent right away, like, just you can pay like week by week kind of deal, but you got to make it up. And then I want to say it was either September or October time frame. It's so fucking long ago now that he flat out told me, he's like, I can't fucking afford it anymore. He just couldn't.
So he just left. Yeah.
Yeah. And, well, the thing was, I told him, I was like, well, how about what can you afford? And like the dude was like scrapping up like 300. And then I told him, I was like, if this is where you're at, I can give you till December, and after December, like that's it. And the thing was, like, I had a new tenant come in January.
Right.
So
I said, there's no disagreement between y'all.
no,
So
no.
Help his ass out.
That's what I'm saying. Like I helped the dude out, and then after that, like I remember for like all the shit that he did for the place and everything else, I remember reaching out to him. I was like, hey man, you want to fucking knock out some work and make some money? Because every estimate I was getting, like, dude, bro, just to do, like, somebody gave me an estimate for a single tree, and it was like $3,000, and I was like, yeah, no, go fuck off, dude, no fucking way, you know what I mean? So I was like, hey, you want to fucking knock off some branches and fucking plow this bitch to the ground? And that's what he fucking did.
But you got rid of that property now, didn't you?
Yeah, I fucking sold it.
Right. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I had to do what I had to fucking do. So, oh man, yeah, I'm waiting, because, yeah, that way we can see what the fuck's gonna happen.
Just before, yeah. I say, just keep your eyes peeled, dog, because them motherfuckers are fucking vultures. All the motherfuckers are.
Oh, dude, 100%, man. This shit's gonna like.
I mean, if they follow Shanna all the way in fucking Washington State, they talking about they saw her get out of the grocery store and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Like they for sure they're gonna follow your ass too. So keep your eyes peeled.
Oh, 100. Yeah. Oh, I know. I know. Like, I'm not the one though.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
I know, but the way they're portraying it, I don't. Right, as of right now, they're not going to say nothing, but they're going to dig farther. I don't think.
Oh, yeah, they're going to
already.
Yeah, they're going to paint it however they're going to want to paint it, and then obviously it comes down to whatever the fuck, is said afterwards. So.
Exactly. Yeah, because from what I didn't dig too far. I just saw it, like, sitting in my van eating lunch. What the fuck? Let me just give him a heads catch up real quick.
Yeah,
You know, it's just the whole thing is just funny. Because from outside perspective looking in, that's the way I would see it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, you know, if
Yeah.
nobody knew you.
It's a 50-50 swing looking at it that way. But the other part is it's actually not even. It's more like a three-way split, because then it was there's this guy, then there's me, then there's Shanna, and then like, you know, unless somehow the widow fucking is tied to this man somehow, like, I don't fucking know.
I think old girl, his family is digging. They're one hand.
Oh, I bet, but it's not because they're interested in what happened to the guy. They just want to do it out of spite.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah.
Ah, fuck. Here we go.
Crazy.
No,
All right, Rodolfo, let me get back to.
Yeah.
I just want to give you a heads up on that.
Yeah, I'm about to head out and fucking get back to work too. But all right, bro. Thank you.
Too, Adolfo. All right, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, man.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
All right, thank you. Cross-examination.
Hey, how's it going? Good. Oh, sorry.
You and Mr. Fernandez are friends, correct?
Yes.
State asked you didn't know you were being recorded?
Nope.
He didn't know he was being recorded?
I'm sure he would have said something.
I know it's obvious, but you called him. He didn't call you, right?
Correct.
And it was because you heard some stuff about the media, right?
Right.
Would you agree that most of what you were talking about was what the media was reporting, you were telling him, and then he was responding what he had heard through the media?
Correct.
Okay. And did you think that he made any admissions to you?
No.
Did he seem different on that phone call than he had seemed any time before?
No. We're normal.
In the first call, you start talking about that the media is reporting something with Shanna, the wife, right?
Right.
He tells you they had separated. That was true, correct?
Correct.
He tells you that she moved across the country. That's true, correct?
Correct.
Did he seem concerned that you were asking him about this?
No, because he would have told me out, like, what, you know, it's not your problem.
Right.
And just Mario's that type of guy, yeah.
And he chatted with you to the extent that he knew anything, right?
Correct.
And then he started talking about like Toyota Tundras, right?
We talk about trucks. That's all we talk about is trucks outside of life. But yeah, trucks a lot.
On that whole call, I mean, the state decided to fast forward, and it's their evidence and their direct examination. They can do whatever they want. But there's like 7 or 8 minutes where you guys are just talking about you wanting to buy a Toyota Tundra and him owning a Toyota Tundra and gas mileage and modifications and friends of yours that were in the military. You guys were talking about all sorts of stuff, right?
Correct.
Okay. And never one time did you feel like he admitted anything to the participation in the death of Jared Bridegan, correct?
Correct.
Before I get to the second call. Oh, and Mr. Fernandez owned dogs?
Yes, he had one.
One big dog?
Yeah.
And he was a little older, right?
Yeah, zeros, like 10, maybe 11 at that time.
And at one point on the call, you guys were just talking about how that dog was doing, right?
Yeah, because I know he, you know, I hung out with the dog. I knew the dog well. And as they get older, a bigger dog, they get stiff and arthritis and things like that.
Okay. And Mr. Mizrahi started saying that while you were friends, there were times or a time where you were around Ms. Gardner where she was griping about the co-parenting issues she was having with Jared Bridegan. Do I understand that correctly?
Correct.
But do I also understand that Mr. Fernandez never talked to you about that?
I never cared to know his side of the story. I never asked.
And he didn't seem to really care, right?
To my opinion, no.
I mean, he wasn't, in fact, you specifically said, he didn't jump into the conversation and start dogging Jared Bridegan, right?
No.
He just sat there and listened to his current wife griping about her ex-husband. Do I understand that correctly?
Correct.
You think that's unusual that an ex-wife gripes about her ex-husband? Or excuse me, a wife gripes about her ex-husband?
Depending on how bad the divorce was, yes.
And she told you it was bad, right?
She did.
Okay. She didn't hide that from you, right?
Nope.
Okay. So then there's a second call the next day. You had learned through the media that Henry Tenen had been arrested.
Correct.
And then you called Mr. Fernandez and you asked him, they're saying that guy used to live in one of your properties, right?
Correct.
Did he deny that to you?
No.
Was he like, I don't know this guy?
No.
Was he like, did he try to distance himself from Mr. Tenen?
No.
In fact, he told you that Mr. Tenen did work for him after the homicide, correct?
Correct.
You had no idea that you were being recorded, right?
No clue at all.
Mr. Fernandez, to your estimation, had no idea he was being recorded, correct?
Correct.
And he just happened, and this phone conversation is about 11 months after the homicide, correct?
Yes, the time frame. Yeah, sounds about right.
And he just happens to tell you, man, this guy did some landscaping for me, right?
Correct.
Did you know that the checks, there's 3 checks in this case, that Mr. Fernandez wrote to Mr. Tenen? The memo line of one of the checks is landscaping. Did you know that?
I saw it on social media, but he didn't tell me exclusively, no.
He did tell you that he did landscaping work.
Correct. Correct.
So 11, many, many months. The checks were written in March after the homicide. He told you he did work for him after the homicide, correct?
Correct.
And then he told you that he did roof work in the call, correct?
Correct.
Did you know that the checks that are in evidence that the jury will see in this case are for roofing?
I didn't know.
But that would be consistent with what Mr. Fernandez told you, wouldn't it?
Correct.
In a call that he didn't know he was being recorded on, right?
That's correct.
You said Mr. Fernandez didn't have much of a career, but Mr. Fernandez did own rental properties, right?
Correct.
And he worked on those rental properties, right?
All the time.
And in fact, on the very first call, he told you, I'm doing tile work right now, and you could hear the scraping. He apologized for the scraping because he was talking and working, right?
Correct.
It's no secret that Shanna Gardner's family was extremely wealthy, correct?
I honestly did not know that until all this came out.
Okay.
I didn't have a clue.
So while Mr. Fernandez was married to Shanna Gardner, he lived a pretty comfortable life. Is that fair to say?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Okay. But he didn't brag about it or talk about it, or it didn't change the same guy that you knew from high school?
Not at all.
And you're still friends with Mr. Fernandez to the extent that you can be, right?
Yes.
In the second call, did he seem overly worried to you?
No, stressed maybe, but not worried.
Because the media was talking about his involvement because Mr. Tenen used to live at one of his rental properties, right?
Correct.
Did he seem evasive?
No, definitely not.
Like he was hiding anything?
No.
He was candid about knowing Mr. Tenen?
Say that question
He
one
was
more time.
candid. He was open with
Yes.
you and saying, yeah, I know this guy.
Correct.
Did he tell you I had nothing to do with it?
Correct.
And at the end, when he's saying like there's 3 people involved, it could go 3 ways, he was talking about how the media was portraying it, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Not that he was involved, him, Shanna Gardner, and Henry Tenen. That's not what he was telling you, right?
No.
And that's not what you're telling this jury.
Correct.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
He also did tell you, I'm trying to remember, because it had been a long time, he didn't remember like every detail, right?
Right.
So if he didn't tell you every detail about his relationship with Mr. Tenen, it was just, he admitted, he's like, I'm trying to think back to my conversations with the guy, right?
Correct.
I guess this is obvious, but during the time that Shanna Gardner was talking and griping, and Mr. Fernandez was there, you never heard anybody threaten Jared Bridegan, correct?
No,
You never heard anybody trying to plan his murder, correct?
no,
Nobody ever asked you to provide a firearm in connection to this murder.
absolutely not.
Mr. Fernandez never asked to change cars with you, or he never asked you in any way to participate or cover for him in this homicide.
No,
And lastly, when you said, hey, where are you at, man? He told you, I'm in Kissimmee, Florida, right?
correct.
Where does his brother live?
Kissimmee.
That add up?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And he was still working on another rental property that he owned at the time because he had sold Potomac?
Correct,
Because Mr. Fernandez owned more than one rental property, right?
correct.
And before he met Ms. Gardner, he had rental properties, correct?
He did.
So it's not some like miraculous gift that he got because he managed Jared Gardner. That was kind of the business he was in.
Correct,
And then he supplemented his income by working at gyms or doing handyman work and things like that.
correct.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fong.
Thank you. Mr. Mizrahi?
Police court. So there's rental properties, you know about two of them, right?
Yeah, yes, correct.
One is White Horse, which is in the Sandwood area, which used to be the defendant's parents.
Correct.
And the other is the Potomac downtown.
Oh, but I've never been there. I'm assuming.
Referred to.
Correct, yeah.
That's the one that Mr. Tatum was like,
From what he was telling me, yes, sir.
the one he was telling. I understand.
Yeah.
Do you know what the income was from those homes?
I have no clue.
It wasn't like, they weren't like multi-family dwellings with like dozens and dozens of tenants.
No, they were single homes.
They were single homes with one or two bedrooms.
Correct.
And certainly he has to supplement his income by doing other hustle work, correct?
Let me ask that question again.
He has to supplement his income, obviously, he's not to support.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He had come up, side jobs, things like that.
So, Mr. Dreiser asked you about the checks, for landscaping and for roofing.
Right.
In the call, you would agree that the call speaks for itself.
Correct.
Is there any hidden language that y'all are speaking or anything like that?
No, definitely not.
So in the call, the defendant said that there was no way he was gonna pay $3,000 to remove the tree. Remember that?
Correct.
That's all the question.
May the witness be excused.
The witness may be excused.
Thank you, Mr. Fong.
Thank you.
All right, members of the jury, we're going to take a short recess, okay? Leave your notepads on your chair. We'll come back.
Oh, I'm still alive. Good seeing you, Sonny.
Say 3:45, okay? Ms. Stifler, call your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. State calls Agent Bobby Blythe.
Agent Bobby Blythe. Good afternoon, Agent. Please raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Agent, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Okay, thank you. This way. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please introduce yourself to our jurors?
Good afternoon. My name is Bobby Blythe. I'm a special agent with the FBI here in Jacksonville, Florida.
Agent Blythe, how long have you worked for the FBI?
For about 18 years, since June 2008.
And what is your current position with the FBI?
I'm a special agent with the FBI. I'm a part of the FBI's cellular analysis survey team. I'm a full-time member of that team, and I'm embedded or detailed here to a violent crimes task force in Jacksonville, Florida.
And you mentioned what we're going to refer to as CAST, Cellular Analysis Survey Team.
Yes.
Can you describe for the jury how long you've been a member of the CAST team?
I was certified as part of the cellular analysis survey team CAST in 2022. I started my training process in June 2019. And during that time, from 2019 to 2022, worked with an already certified field asset and went through all of our training processes.
Your previous positions with the FBI?
So my first field office assignment was in New Orleans, Louisiana. I worked a variety of criminal investigative matters, from financial crimes to public corruption investigations and civil rights investigations there. And in 2018, I transferred to Jacksonville field office and continued to work on criminal investigations. And in 2022, started working primarily violent crime investigations.
Can you explain to the jury what CAST is?
CAST is a group of about 100 special agents and task force officers across the FBI's field office that specialize in the analysis of phone-based location information and historical cell site location information, the information that comes from the cellular providers that make your cell phones work. We train other investigators, state and local law enforcement, other federal agencies, how to do this kind of work, to use this technology to further investigations, to find phones and the people they belong to. We also help real time on cases to find people, whether it be suspects of crime, missing persons, such as a kidnapped child. And we also work on historical investigations, looking back to see where a phone was or device was in relation to a set of circumstances. And we also provide testimony in court regarding our findings.
You mentioned someone earlier testified about being CAST trained. Do you train other law enforcement agencies outside of the FBI in how to do this type of analysis?
Yes, every year I teach multiple basic classes, a 2-day class to state, local, and other federal law enforcement officers and crime analysts on how to do this type of work, what kind of records you can get from the cellular providers and social media companies to obtain location information to help in an investigation. We also teach an advanced class to state, local, and federal law enforcement as well, and we're required to do so to maintain our professional standards.
What's your educational background?
I have a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of North Florida with a major in accounting. I worked in public accounting for 3.5 years after graduating from UNF, and I did some post-baccalaureate work to be able to sit for the CPA exam, and I became a certified public accountant during that time as well.
How did you get into this transition from that type of work with the FBI into CAST?
So I knew an FBI agent that I met when I was in high school, actually, and kept up with him through college. I was recruited, went through the application process, and joined in 2008, and went through new agents training.
In order to be a member of the CAST team, can you briefly describe for the jury what specialized training you have to receive related to mobile device location analysis, both historical and real-time?
So we go through over 300 hours of classroom and practicals-based training, basically going from a basic class to an advanced class, a critical incident readiness exercise that simulates a command post environment. Let's say there's a child abduction or a mass shooting, and we're trying to identify a suspect device and track that device. So we simulate that in an exercise. We also go through a 4-week certification course that includes a class from a PhD professor from the Florida Institute of Technology in radio frequency theory as it relates to cellular networks. And we go through the technology from the infancy of cell phones, 1G, all the way to 5G, what's currently deployed. And what's special about it is we also receive training directly from the cellular providers, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, and US Cellular, from both their network engineers and their court order legal compliance personnel to tell us about the technology they have deployed, how their networks work. We can ask them questions, and they tell us about what kind of records they keep and how to obtain them.
Approximately how many times in your career do you believe that you have analyzed call detail records with location information, historical, I'll start with that, historical records?
More than several hundred times.
And have you ever in your career tracked successfully a suspect or missing person using these records in real time?
Yes, numerous times.
Can you give us an example? I know recently you tracked a suspect in a local shooting at the Players Championship course.
Yes, there was a double homicide near the Players Championship this year. We were able to track the suspect's device to an area within a very short period of time of providing that information to investigators. They were actually able to locate the abandoned phone and see where that was located, and then we were moved on to exploiting other means to try to locate that suspect. I've also located missing endangered children who've been kidnapped, the suspects involved in those kidnappings, missing persons who've been deceased to find their remains, and also been able to verify where suspects of crime have been looking backwards by seeing where their device was and then corroborating that by pulling video at that location or seeing them on surveillance.
And you mentioned that part of your job duties are also to testify in court. How many times have you testified in court related to your work as an expert witness?
About 55 jury trials in state and federal court.
Your Honor, at this time, the state is intending to elicit opinion evidence from Agent Blythe as an expert in his field, and I would allow the defense any voir dire.
Any questions?
Oh, no questions, and we agree that he's an expert in his field.
Okay, you may proceed.
Okay. Agent Blythe, we're going to give the jury a little bit of an education. Can you explain how cell towers work?
Yes, so on the left, you can see 4 common configurations of cell phone towers, as they're commonly called in our area. There's a traditional metal pole with 3-sided array of antennas on top that you can see at the top left. They can be disguised as a fake tree or other items. There's a flagpole on the top right, or they can be mounted on different sides of a rooftop to create the 3 sides of a traditional cell phone tower. On the right side, you'll see a diagram. It shows the directions on a compass, north, south, east, and west, and also shows the degrees. At the center, you'll see an overhead image of a cell phone tower from above. There's a dot at the middle of that. So on the maps you'll see today, you'll see a dot like that. That represents the exact location on Earth of the base of that cell phone tower. And then you'll also see these wedges here that represent the outline of a sector as designed by the provider to give coverage in a specific geographic area. Those sectors or sides of the tower are aimed in a particular direction called an azimuth. They use the degrees on a compass to aim the center of those sectors. And so I use that information about where the tower is located and how they're aimed, how many degrees on a compass that the center line of that sector is aimed, to create a visual representation of the cellular network activity for that device and an approximate location.
And I should mention that this is States Exhibit 182. This is the introductory slides in your report, which we'll get to in a moment.
Yes.
So the towers are divided into sectors. How does the division into sectors produce location data in call detail records or call records?
So most of the towers in the United States are divided into 3 sectors. So if we only had the tower, we could just draw a dot on a map and say the phone used that tower. But with sector information, we know which side or sector of the tower the phone used at a given time for a specific communication. So we can draw that outline of that sector and show what side of the tower the phone used, which shows a more precise location than just knowing that the phone used the tower by itself. And also just wanted to point out that on the sectors you'll see drawn, there's this arch and a shaded area on the inside. That's simply meant to emphasize the direction of coverage that's being provided by that sector and doesn't indicate the exact location or coverage area of the tower or the exact location of the phone.
So on this next slide, is this how you display what you were just speaking about, that coverage location direction?
Yes, this is one of those sectors plotted on a map. You see the green dot that represents the location of the cell phone tower, and then the red wedge indicates which sector, in this case the sector pointed at 0 degrees true north, that the phone used for that particular event. You'll also see other towers on the map. Those are there as a point of reference. We call them reference towers. It's other towers in the cellular network that weren't used at that specific time, but they help aid in the estimation of the coverage area of the towers and sectors that were used.
Does a cell phone or device always select the closest tower?
Not always, but it usually does. Cell phones are constantly scanning their environment, measuring signal strength and quality, and the phone itself for incoming or outgoing phone call actually picks the tower with the best signal. That usually ends up being the geographically closest tower, but there can be exceptions, such as man-made or geographic barriers in between your phone and the line of sight to the closest tower.
What we're just talking about is what we would consider cellular location data. So can you explain to the jury what the difference between cellular location data is and something called timing advanced data?
So cell site data, or call detail records with cell site, let's say a phone call, you have information about the tower and what side or sector was used on that tower for that phone call. Timing advance is a different data set that provides a calculated distance that the phone was from the base of the tower. So with that information, we can draw that calculated distance across that 120-degree sector, and we, for the 4G context technology, we map those as 78 meters wide, and so you draw that 78-meter wide band or arc across the sector, and the majority of the time you'll find that phone inside that shaded area. The way that it works is that the tower sends a signal from the tower to the phone, and the phone relays it back to the tower. The network runs a stopwatch on that relay, and then you use a simple equation to calculate the distance that the phone was from the tower based on how long it took the signal to get to and from the phone. The reason that's there is you can think of a crowded movie theater. Let's say there's an emergency in the theater, like a fire, but there's only one exit. If everyone goes out that one exit tries to go out at the same time, there'll be a tragedy. If there's someone to designate who goes out, which row goes out at what time, sequentially, then everyone can get out safely. It tells the phones when they have to send signals so that they arrive within the right time window. It's critical for cell phones to work. The cellular providers have, in our training, have told us that for your cell phone to operate and function, timing advance has to work. And it provides much more precise location information than just tower and sector.
So I want to kind of break this down for the jury. If we're talking about cellular location information, does that require somebody to be actively using, meaning either sending or receiving text messages or making or receiving phone calls to generate data of which tower and sector is being used?
No. So although timing advance can be created based on phone calls, data sessions, or text messages, it's also independent network signaling independent of any user-initiated activity.
So if you were looking for active cellular usage, someone would have to be using their phone to create that activity. But if we're talking about timing advance, my phone can be sitting here without me doing anything on it, without receiving any texts or calls, and it still can be creating those timing advance measurements to the cell tower.
Yes.
Okay. When you are mapping cell phone data, what kind of records do you need in order to do that?
So in the productions from the cellular providers, we need the call detail records with cell site, the data sessions with cell site, if it's available, the timing advance files, and we also need a cell tower list, a list of from the provider that gives the locations of all the towers and other information about the tower and the sectors, like what direction that each side of that tower faces.
And in this case, and many of your cases, do you receive those records from the cell phone providers via a search warrant?
Yes.
The government or law enforcement, a state, we can't just subpoena them. They have to be through a search warrant issued and approved by a judge.
Correct. The legal standard for quite some time now is that it requires a probable cause search warrant from a judge to obtain this historical cell site location information because it allows one to track the movements of one's device.
So in this case, did you analyze both cell tower location information, meaning these maps here on page 5 that show what azimuth and what sector of a tower is being used, as well as timing advance showing that same information but with a distance from the tower? Did you have both types of data available to you in this case?
Yes, for one of the devices.
Do phone companies keep this timing advance measurement data as long as they keep other cellular data?
No, they don't.
Do you know what the retention periods are for cell providers in general?
I do, yes.
And what are those?
So for timing,
Okay. Or do you want to ask it?
I mean, I can ask it differently.
Okay.
Have the retention periods for these carriers changed since 2022?
yes,
Do you know what they were in 2022?
yes.
And what are they? What were they in 2022? Let's start with T-Mobile. What was their retention rate in 2022?
For timing advance, it was 90 days.
So if an officer does not get a search warrant for a specific phone number because they haven't identified it or it's not part of the investigation, 90 days after an event, timing advance would not have been available for a T-Mobile number in 2022.
No.
What about AT&T in 2022?
In 2022, AT&T did not produce timing advance information to law enforcement pursuant to search warrants. They've since have begun doing so.
Did you receive another type of data to analyze in this case, Google location history?
Yes, I did.
And can you explain to the jury where Google location history comes from?
So Google location history comes from the phone's operating system, the location services function on your phone. The phone is a very smart device that has a function feature called location services. The applications running on the phone are constantly asking location services, assuming it's turned on, for location information. The Weather Channel app needs to know what part of town generally you're in, so it asks for a more broad or more approximate location. But when, let's say, you get in Google Maps and want to navigate to a specific location, it wants the best location information, which is going to be usually your phone's GPS receiver or Wi-Fi based location information. So when the applications on your phone or using Google products themselves are querying the phone's operating system for locations. Those locations are provided to the applications. If you're opted in to timeline or location tracking with Google, then that information at this time was transmitted and stored in Google servers, and it's also stored on in your phone's operating system.
We have 3 types of data available in this case. You have your cell tower information like we see here on slide 5, timing advance data that you mentioned you were able to obtain for one of the numbers you analyzed, and Google location history. Can you explain to the jury, I'll start with this one, how precise is this data and can you provide an exact location for a device beginning with cell site location information?
So tower and sector, cell site information is an approximate location. Well, how approximate? It depends on the tower density of the geographic area you're located. If you're in downtown Los Angeles, California, where there's towers every 2 or 3 city blocks or more, it's very precise. It narrows it down to a much smaller area. If you're in a rural area where towers are 8 to 10 miles apart, it's a much more broad area if you just have tower and sector. So during let's say a phone call, and you have the tower and sector or side of the tower that was used, the phone has to be somewhere inside the coverage area for that tower and sector. And that's in many ways defined by the tower density.
So if you have cell site location information, you would be able to say that a cell phone is somewhere in this coverage range for this direction for this tower.
Yes.
For timing advanced, how much more precise or how much more exact can you give a location for a specific device?
Yeah, so we know that generally the phone's going to be somewhere inside the shaded area of the 78-meter wide band that we can draw across that sector based on the calculated distance. And we also know that the phone, because of various variables in the real world, we know that the phone could be 1 to 2 bands inside of that.
And then for Google location history, can you provide a more precise or more exact location for a device with this type of data?
Yeah, so this in Google oftentimes is able to assign or show a confidence radius for the location based on which is in many cases related to the source of that location information. GPS, global positioning system data, being the best, usually 3 to 10 meters. So that's going to be a much more precise location on Earth about where that phone is. So let's say you have a 10-meter confidence radius location. You have a latitude and longitude. You can draw that specific point on a map, and then you would go 10 meters out on one side from that location and then draw a circle all the way around that location. That's the confidence radius, and you can see an example of that here on the right.
Thank you, Agent. In this particular case, did you receive phone records, including cellular location history, timing advance, and Google data specific to 3 phone numbers and 1 email address?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
Actually, I'm going to use the evidence card for this. Okay. Agent, I'm showing you Exhibit 206. This is a chart of phone numbers and email addresses. It's been entered into evidence. And
Is it published?
yes, been entered into evidence. So we're beginning with, was one of the numbers, one of the phone numbers and associated individuals records provided to you, the phone number here, 904-566-2633, belonging to a Mario Fernandez?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also receive 2 phone numbers belonging to 2 different devices with 2 different IMEIs for an individual by the name of Henry Tenen, and the numbers here, 904-801-7612, 904-442-0513?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you also provided Google location information for an email address, henrytenen53@gmail.com?
Yes.
And lastly, were you provided cellular location information for an individual by the name of John Biggerstaff at 904-517-6322?
Yes.
Mr. Biggerstaff had an AT&T phone number, so you did not have the ability to obtain timing advance data for him. Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
And for Mr. Fernandez, you received a 30-day time period, or I think a few different time periods of timing advance data, as well as cell site location information.
Yes.
For Mr. Tenen's phone numbers, you received cell site location information.
Yes, that's correct.
And Mr. Fernandez and Mr. Tenen both had T-Mobile phone numbers.
Yes.
And then Google data, how long in 2022 was that data retained, the location data?
Well, it depends on the user. So the user, I've seen in investigations, even in my own location history, exploring this myself and my own data, it can be there for years.
There is more control because it's not held by a third party. It's actually contained in your phone or your Google Cloud. You can delete data if you want. You can retain it. You can alter the retention lengths yourself for that type of data.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to show you some items that were provided to you to do your analysis, beginning with State's Exhibit. Stickers are covered up. 180. It's a disc with a letter from AT&T, toll records for John Biggerstaff.
Yes, ma'am.
State's Exhibit 179, poll records and a certification from T-Mobile for Henry Tenon.
Yes, ma'am.
And then a disc of toll records and a T-Mobile certification for the phone records and timing in advance records for Mario Fernandez.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you also received Google data, location data from a Google return from Mr. Henry Tenon, State's Exhibit 181.
Yes.
And lastly, the detectives provided you as well to include in your mapping some license plate reader reports from the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office for a specific date, January 29th, 2022.
Yes, that's correct.
Using the records in front of you, did you plot maps for the cell phone numbers for the individuals Mario Fernandez, Henry Tenon, and John Biggerstaff, as well as the Google data for Mr. Tenon?
Yes.
Are you also provided by the detectives that request you to do work geographic points of interest, specific addresses, or longitudinal and latitudinal positioning?
Yes.
And in this case, were you provided some addresses to include 1511 Marsh Inlet Court, a longitude and latitudinal coordinates associated with an area called Pablo Hamlet, 5239 Potomac Avenue, Elite Gymnastics, St. Johns County, 182 Fresnel Lane, and 2180 Derringer Circle?
Yes.
When you receive those phone records that you have up there, states 178, 179, 180, if the jury were to open them, they would see the time and dates of the cellular activity and timing advance is in something called UTC. Can you explain
Yes.
to the jury what UTC means?
UTC stands for Universal Coordinated Time, for short, and you can think of it as being similar to Greenwich Mean Time. So to get from UTC time to local time here, this time of year we subtract 4 hours. During standard time, after we fall back, you subtract 5 hours.
And did you make those adjustments when mapping this data?
Yes.
When you're mapping data for the time period at the top, do you include all or most of the cellular data for that time frame in your mapping?
Yes, unless I indicate otherwise.
And if there is no data for a specific time period for a phone, did you also indicate that on these maps?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're going to go through your report. It states Exhibit 182. Did you prepare these maps in conjunction with a request from the Jacksonville Beach Police Department regarding the murder of Jared Bridegan?
Yes.
Do you actually participate in the investigation of the cases that you're working, or you just look at data?
So usually I'm brought in to look at the historical cell site or another phone-based location information to provide context and show where devices were in reference to specific places at specific times pertinent to the investigation. Sometimes I might be asked for advice about what type of location information can be obtained from certain providers, but that's usually what it's limited to in these types of cases.
You don't participate in interviews or help collect evidence or make any kind of determinations as to how an investigation will proceed, other than maybe requesting additional data that you would need to map locations. All right, let's go through your slides. Beginning with slide 8, you were asked to map cellular location data for the phone number 2633, Mr. Fernandez. And I should say at the beginning of your report, the jurors will have a little easier time. You do them by color coding. So on this map, we're gonna have Mario Fernandez is gonna be indicated in pink, Mr. Tenon's devices in green and in black, Mr. Biggerstaff's device in blue, and then Mr. Tenon's are going to be those red little bubble dots indicating Google data.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So beginning with slide 8, you were asked to map cellular location information for Mr. Fernandez on January 5th of 2022. First of all, were you provided with timing advance data for this time period?
For January 5th, I don't recall the specific date it cut off, but later in January, I know there was timing advance, and in February, we had timing advance.
And if the request for the data was made more than 90 days, like, for example, if the police didn't realize this date was significant until 90 days after it had passed, there would not be timing advance available for you to map.
Correct. So as soon as investigators learn of a device, they can only go back 90 days before that to get timing advance. So if there's a date pertinent to the case that falls below that, before that 90th day, that information is going to be have been purged from T-Mobile systems. So it just won't be available.
So in this map, we're seeing cellular data, which means that we're only going to have data points when a phone is communicating with a tower being used in some manner.
Correct.
So here we see Mr. Fernandez's device has 2 cellular activities for this time frame. Can you describe for the jury what you've mapped?
Yes, this is a visual representation of the cellular network usage of target cell phone 2633 in pink. There's a incoming phone call that went to voicemail at 10:56 a.m. Utilizing the tower and sector just north of the Jacksonville Beach sign on the map, facing to the west. And at 11:51 a.m., the target cell phone utilized the tower and sector just north of the Baptist Medical Center Beaches sign on the map, also facing to the north and west for an outgoing phone call.
And these other green dots that I'm circling here, those indicate the location of other T-Mobile cell towers back in 2022.
Yes.
And when you map cell location towers, towers can change, they can build new towers, move them. Do you always use the tower list from the year that you're mapping?
Yes, we use the tower list closest in time to the time of the incident because the network changes over time.
Moving on to slide 9, we have a map here for a phone number 7612 associated with Henry Tenon and Google location data for henrytenon53@gmail.com for January 5th, 2022. Before we get started, I want to ask about this box up here. That is in reference to Mr. Fernandez's phone number 2633. What does that mean?
Yes, there's no mappable activity for the target cell phone during that time frame with tower sector information.
So we can say this device, the data for this day that was available for you to map, we can say the device is in the Jacksonville Beach area between 10:56 a.m. and 11:51. For this time frame, we have no data to say where that phone's located.
Yeah, so cell site are snapshots in time. So they show an approximate location. I can show an approximate location based on those usages on the previous slide for those 2 specific points in time.
So for Mr. Tenon's cellular device and his Gmail account, which was linked to one of his cellular phones, can you explain what your mapping indicates to you, in your opinion, based on your training and experience?
So this shows the movement of the target device, the device using the Gmail account, and the target cell phone 7612 in green away from the Tenon residence, the area of the Tenon residence, 5239 Potomac Avenue, south and east, and then east towards the Jacksonville Beach area by 5:57 and 11 p.m. indicated here on the right side of the map.
And this flag you have here corresponds with the legend. That was an address provided to you by detectives in the case.
Correct.
Same with what we're going to call Fernandez residence, the location of interest as Pablo Hamlet, and the location of the crime scene on Sanctuary Boulevard South.
Yes.
And we're getting a more close-up view of Mr. Tenon's Google location data on January 5th. Again, we see this box here. And can you explain again what that means as it relates to this slide?
Yeah, so there's no mappable activity for 2633, the pink phone, during the time frame. And there's no timing advance available during this date due to the retention period and when the records were obtained.
So no cellular data means that there's no user-generated cellular activity at this time frame.
Correct, or incoming activity that would generate cell site.
So 2633 is not making or receiving any calls, sending or receiving any text messages at this time frame.
So with T-Mobile, they don't retain cell site for text messaging. We'd have to look at those records, but for the phone, there's no phone calls incoming or outgoing generating cell site during this time.
In regards to Mr. Tenon's geolocation data, can you explain to the jury your opinion based on your training and experience what is indicated by this slide?
So this shows the movement of the target device accessing henrytenon53@gmail.com, moving south between 5:58 and 6:06 p.m. along South 15th Street, and then turning on Fairway Lane.
And these boxes indicate the time for this particular point, so these correspond.
Correct.
Slide number 11. This is going, your arrows indicate reverse, so we're going further along in time. So we see activity going this way, and the next slide, the device appears to be moving back where it came from.
Yes, the blue arrow on the slide I provided shows the direction of movement, and you can see the call-out box for each event next to it with the time and the confidence radius assigned by Google to that location.
So explain to me this R3M here, that is a confidence radius. What does that mean as it correlates to these individual points?
Yes, so the point here that you just circled, that it refers to that point just to the north of the Fernandez residence sign on the map at 6:07 and 34 seconds. It means that Google was able to assign a very precise location, a confidence radius to that location of 3 meters. So that device would generally be found somewhere within 3 meters of that latitude and longitude location.
And then here we have from 6:08 to 6:10 p.m. more location data. Can you explain what we're observing in this slide?
So these are locations that were in the location records for henry1053@gmail.com. They show the device between 6:08 p.m. And 6:10:58 seconds. On these, I'm not able to show a confidence radius because the source of, even though one was assigned by Google, the source of the location pull was listed as unknown. So that could mean a variety of things about why it didn't make its way into Google's records, what the source of that location is. But these locations are interspersed with GPS-generated locations, Wi-Fi-generated locations, and as I reviewed them in totality, they track right along roadways in sequence over time and appear to provide accurate locations for that device.
Data points individually, it's hard to draw conclusions of them. Do you look at the totality of the data and the context in which you're viewing it to draw your conclusions?
Yes.
All right, and then 6:10 to 6:57 on January 5th. Again, we have no activity, cellular activity for 2633. Can you explain what we're seeing in this slide as it relates to Mr. Tennant's cellular device and Gmail account?
So the target device for henry1053@gmail.com and target cell phone 7612 both move back west between 6:10, 6:22, and 6:51 to 6:53, arriving back in this area of just south of the San Marcos sign on the map. You can see a Google location here at 6:51 and 35 seconds, and then a data session for the target cell phone in green at 6:53, utilizing a tower and sector just to the south and west of that more precise Google location. You can see that tower and sector faces that Google location along Interstate 95 there.
So this is one of those examples of looking at things in totality and context. You have more precise Google locations, data points, but they are corresponding with these kind of less precise tower readings. But in an area like this, because they're both in the same area, you can conclude that the device is moving in this general track.
Yes, the data sets corroborate one another.
Right, they correspond to one another.
Yes.
And then January 5th, again, we have no activity. We have on 1/6 an outgoing call, but no cellular calls to map for this time frame. And we see that the data points are moving back to the location of 5239 Potomac Avenue. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, January 25th, from 2:39 p.m. to 3:10 p.m., we are looking at AT&T records, which are only available as that cell tower location information for Mr. Biggerstaff, as well as the cell location and timing advance for Mr. Fernandez. So here we're seeing, can you explain to the jury how timing advance is going to be indicated in these boxes that's a little bit different than the cellular location information?
Yeah, so in these call-out boxes at the top is the CID number. That's a unique identifier for that tower and the site or sector of that tower that was used for each event. And then below that is the date, the time. This number is the azimuth or degrees on a compass that that sector faces that was used for that specific event. And then next to it is TA, that stands for timing advance, and then the distance, the calculated distance that was obtained from the records as calculated by T-Mobile in the records, and that is visually displayed there with the sector on the map.
And what can you tell me about the co-location, if any, between Mr. Biggerstaff's number here in blue and Mr. Fernandez's number here in pink for devices?
Yes, so Mr. Fernandez's phone arrived in this area at approximately 3:04:56 p.m. You can see indicated here by the timing advance band. And meanwhile, Mr. Biggerstaff's phone between 2:42 and 3:08 p.m. utilized the tower and two sectors on that tower in the vicinity of 2180 Derringer Circle during that time. So then the timing advance at 3:09 and 3:10 shows a calculated distance for that target cell phone during that time that overlaps geographically with the Biggerstaff residence. So it shows potential co-location of those two devices in that area.
And here on your legend, where you have these addresses labeled Fernandez residence and Biggerstaff residence, that is information provided to you by the detectives in this case.
Yes.
And here we go on January 25th. We've got a 3:10 p.m. to 4:24 p.m., and then we have a 4:26 to 5:56 p.m. I'm going to go through both of these, and what opinions or conclusions are you drawing as to the potential for co-location from these slides?
Yeah, so remember, we don't have timing advance for the AT&T phone. We just have tower and sector. The blue or AT&T phone for Mr. Biggerstaff was utilizing the 2 tower and sectors located here in this area near McCormick and Monument Road, just to the east of the Biggerstaff residence during at 3:26 and 4:24. Then during this time frame, there's multiple timing advance events with 3 different calculated distance, putting the phone in that the area here defined by the 3 timing advance bands during that time. So it shows potential co-location of the 2 devices during that time.
I guess I should have specified this earlier, but this little blue dot indicates an AT&T tower, and this little green dot indicates a T-Mobile tower. So the T-Mobile phone would use this one, and AT&T phone would use this one.
Correct.
And then we see here on slide 17, Mr. Fernandez's phone with a timing advance appears to be leaving what's been labeled as the Biggerstaff residence at 2180 Derringer Circle, and his path of travel is consistent with, in your opinion, a return via roadway back to the Jacksonville Beach area.
Yes, ma'am.
And then on January 25th, 6:27 p.m. to 9:23 p.m., what opinions or conclusions can you draw from this?
Yeah, so the target device 6322 in blue remained in the area throughout through the next morning based on the available location information. You can see here and in the call-out box to the right, the target cell phone primarily used this tower south of the near Monument and McCormick Road during that time frame.
All right, we're going to talk about January 29th, 2022. I'm hoping we'll get through this particular date before we break for the day, so that's what I'm going to try to accomplish. On page 19, you were asked to map location data, timing advance data for Mr. Fernandez's phone, cellular location data for 7612 Mr. Tennant's phone, and Google data points for henrytennant53@gmail.com. Looking at this slide, and the jury has seen it before, can you offer any opinions based on this data here as to whether those 2 devices could be correlated to being in the same area for an overlapping period of time?
Okay, so just to break it down, the target cell phone 2633 in pink between 2 o'clock, which is this timing advance band here in this tower and sector, is moving into this area and at that point and closer to the area of the Tennant residence. There's at 2:02 a timing advance band here with a calculated distance of 0.58 miles from the base of the tower, and then between 2:05 and 2:59 the target cell phone maintains these 2 calculated distances and would be somewhere within these bands between 2:05 and 2:59. At 2 o'clock, the target device for henrytennant53@gmail.com is located basically at the Tennant residence location, or is consistent with being at that location. Then by 2:06 is departing that area and is near the intersection of Old Kings Road and Edgewood Avenue. Then at 2:08 you see cell site usage for 7612 to the east for a data session, and then at 2:10 a Google location along Martin Luther King Jr. Farther to the east. So between 2 o'clock and 2:06, Mr. Tennant's phone moved north and east towards Old Kings Road, and between 2:02 and 2:05, Mr. Fernandez's phone moved into the same area as the Tennant residence and is consistent with potentially being at that location.
So we don't have data for every second or every minute here. The last known point for Mr. Fernandez's phone would be in this bar, or as you said, at 1 to 2 bands within that band
Yes.
at 2:02. And Mr. Tennant's geolocation data puts him here at 2 p.m. and then here at 2:06. So we've got, presumably there's 4 minutes in here. We don't have a precise location for Mr. Tennant's device. And between 2:02, perhaps within 2 bands, and 2:05, we know Mr. Fernandez is somewhere within this banded area.
Yeah, so there's some possible overlap there for a few minutes during that
Being
short time.
generous, we're talking 3 to 4 minutes. Being conservative, we're talking a minute, perhaps.
Yes, approximately.
So January 29th, we have some movement. We have the geolocation data for Henry Tennant moving south from the Tennant residence into, this is an overview, into the Nocatee Greenleaf Village area.
Yes.
And is the times of these data points consistent with, well, you tell me, what does this indicate it to you, the time between these data points, the distance and timing between them?
The device was moving in a vehicle at a rate of speed consistent with highway speeds south and east from the Jacksonville area south to the Greenleaf Village area on the map.
All right, and we're going to have a closer up view of some of this activity. This is slide 21. This also, you have mapped here a license plate reader report and location for that corresponds with some of these data points. And again, was this something that the detectives provided to you in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And how is it helpful to you placing, some of these don't have that radius, confidence radius. How is something like this helpful to you in coming to conclusions about data overall?
So it, those types of data sets, it's a location for a vehicle, that is assigned to a specific person. So they help corroborate one another.
And looking at this map, what opinions or conclusions can you draw about the location of Henry Tennant53 at Gmail on his device for this time frame?
That it moved into the area at approximately 2:46 a.m. here near Racetrack Road, and then moved south, and then east along Nocatee Parkway, then south toward Valley Ridge Boulevard, and then south and east along County Road 210.
And I'm sorry, you said AM, you mean PM?
I'm sorry, PM.
Slide 22, we have another license plate reader report, and that also corresponds with one of your data points. Can you tell the jury what conclusions or opinions you can draw from the data on this slide?
So at 2:45 and 13 seconds, the target cell phone moves, and here is located here. It moves into the area, and so again, this is just zoomed in of the previous time frame we were showing the location of the target device.
On this slide, slide 23, we see two areas of interest, and those were provided to you by detectives in this case. One is Elite Gymnastics at 175 Cumberland Park, and the other is an address that was advised to you to be the location of the deceased victim in this case at 182 Fresno Lane.
Yes.
And can you explain what the data indicates to you from this slide?
So the device remained stationary for a few minutes between 2:56 and 2:59 on Old County Road 210, where we left off on the previous.
I'm not sure if they out of court or not. I wanted to try to see how much more we had. Let me see real quick, guys. Because if we can finish this up, then we'll be done with this one for the day, and I won't have to come back to this testimony. But let me check and see if they are still alive. I do want to get into our Keefe D trial, right? So we can get some drama. You know we need some drama, right? I don't know if they say court is in recess, but they still have the stream up, but nobody is, I don't know if it didn't go on break or anything. I don't know. Let's see.
Slide, the target cell phone moves back north and east towards along Old County Road 210, and then turns south, moving towards the Elite Gymnastics location, moving south of it, and by 3:05 and 53 seconds, and then back north up the same route.
And we see here this data point for geolocation is 3:05:53. The next data point, correct me if I'm wrong, timing-wise, would be this 3:06:40.
Yes, ma'am.
Here, so 3:05, 3:06, and then 3:07, 3:07.
Correct.
Back out this way. Okay. 3:04 to 3:07 p.m. is this just a more close-up view of the data we just looked at?
Yes.
Slide 26, can you explain to the jury what we're looking at here?
So this shows the gross movement or travel of the device accessing henrytennant53@gmail.com between 3:08 p.m. and 3:47 p.m., moving away from the area of Elite Gymnastics and the victim residence north back towards the Jacksonville Beach area.
And on that route, we have 3:08 to 3:13. We have an area of interest here. Can you indicate to the jury what the data on this slide is showing you?
So this shows an overview on the slide that the target device moved along the blue dotted hashed line that I'm showing here along County Road 210, and then moved south along Beacon Lake Parkway, stopping here along at this intersection of with Beacon Lake Parkway and Lynn's or Fresno Court, and then moved back north and then north and east away from the area.
And here we have some more data location points showing, I guess, more zoomed in view and fewer data points from that previous slide. Can you explain what is indicated here?
Yeah, so I just zoomed in and showed a little bit less data points for presentation purposes, and now I'm showing the specific times and confidence radiuses when available for those locations, showing the movement of the target cell phone north and east along County Road 210 west, and then south on Beacon Lake Parkway, and then after this point, the phone moves out of it, back north and out of the area.
And here we have in time order movement from 309, 311, 00, 311, 02, and then here, coming back to this data point, 311, 48.
Yes.
So 48 seconds later.
Yes, ma'am.
So back to 5239 Potomac Avenue during this time frame, we're looking at timing advanced data for Mario Fernandez's cell phone. Can you tell us what is indicated in this slide?
Yes, a lot of data on the left, but this device was receiving a lot of timing advanced signaling during this time frame with 3 different calculated distances ranging from 0.39 to 0.48 miles from the base of the tower between 3:04 and 3:45 p.m., which overlaps geographically with the tenant residence location. And you can see the shaded area of those 3 bands.
And here we see a bunch of timing advance recorded data, which means what we talked about earlier, your phone communicating without you generating any kind of activity with the tower. Was there any cellular activity, user-generated or user-received cellular activity for this time frame?
No, ma'am, not during this time.
And then here, Mr. Tennant's Gmail location data, again, corresponding with another license plate reader report. And this is in down here from Ponte Vedra for this LPR hit. And what does this indicate to you?
So this is at 3:37 and 47 seconds on January 29th. There's a Google location nearby, very close at 3:37 and 45 seconds. And then it shows that the phone, the device accessing Henry 10 and 53, continued to move north along 3rd Street and then towards the red flag crime scene location.
And here at 3:43 p.m., we have a Google location point on Sanctuary Boulevard South with a confidence ratio of 4 meters. So can you say with a degree of confidence and certainty that that plot point is in particular a pretty precise location?
Yes, ma'am.
Indicating that Mr. Tennant's device was at Sanctuary Boulevard South at this time period.
Yes.
And then from 3:48 to 4:23, we see, well, you can tell me what we see, but Mr. Tennant's device appears to be traveling back to the vicinity of 5239 Marsh Inlet. I'm sorry, 5239 Potomac Avenue.
Yes, you can see that the target device and 7612 target cell phone in green, they appear to move together. 353 event here, 356 here along JTB or Highway 202, 403 here near South Point at 95 and JTB. There's a Google location there at 403 as well. Then 409, there's an event from Henry 10 and 53 and also the target cell phone 7612, and then arriving back in the vicinity of the tenant residence at approximately 4:20 p.m. During that time, target cell phone 2633 in pink utilized the same tower and sector that we were looking at before between 3:48 p.m. and 4:23 p.m. For several timing advance events.
And during this time frame, although Mr. Fernandez's phone is recording those timing advance data, was there any user generated or received cellular data for that time frame?
There's no phone calls to map during that time frame, no.
And here we see that Mr. Tennant's device is located with a confidence ratio of 30 meters at this general location, and you've made that a little bit of a bigger data point. And Mr. Fernandez is in that timing advanced band with a recorded data, at least at 4:20:30 and 4:23:34.
Yeah, so within about 18 seconds, there's a timing advance band of 0.44 miles, which is roughly the same distance that the tenant residence is from the tower.
And here we see, I guess, a more close-up view of that.
Yes.
We see that they are co-located, potentially the device is co-located for a time period of at least 3 minutes. And then here on slide 33, we see the pink phone belonging to Mr. Fernandez beginning to travel away from the residence. Can you describe for us the route of travel?
Yes, ma'am. The phone moved south and east along Highway 23 through the downtown Jacksonville area, and then across the St. Johns River, Matthews Bridge, between 4:25 and 4:37 p.m. Apologize, I accidentally drew that large.
Can you describe to me what this box means? You have both the pink and the green in one box.
During that time, both target cell phones, again, about 3 minutes apart, 421 and 424, both target cell phones use the same tower and same sector.
And then we see that Mr. Fernandez's phone moved from this band to this band with a reading here at 4:25.
Yes.
And that gets us through January 29th. Your Honor, in terms of scheduling, does the jury need a break? Yes.
Okay.
I thought that might be the answer.
All right. How much longer do you think? Should we take a shorter break so we can finish up the day?
Yes.
Okay. We'll take 5 minutes. Just refresh yourselves really quick, and you can buzz when you're ready to come back out.
Okay, so she did take a break. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and end us right here. Hey Nancy, what's up, boo? I'm gonna end this right here. We are gonna go ahead and go over to our Tupac trial. I do want to get in there so we don't get. I don't know how much longer they gonna go. You know, she typically like if she say 2 o'clock for the day, it's typically 2 o'clock, but. That's not the case today. So I just know that we had a heartbreaking point at this part. But I would like to say, just to clear up things, guys, for that hearing that they had in the middle of the day for Shayna Gardner in regards to the phone issue for Jared Bridegan's widow. You know, even though she is a victim, her phone is going to be able to be, she does have to turn over her phone. And they're going to do like an in-camera viewing before any evidence or anything is presented. So before we end this stream, I did want to let you guys know that I did find out that information. And next year, I think that we should just go ahead and head over to Vegas and start our Vegas coverage. I will say, even though it probably doesn't mean anything to you guys now, I really can appreciate, I love the diagram with the phone records. Like, unless you about to be reading text messages to me, I want to see some photos of how, you know, how he's diagramming, he's pinpointing, he's putting where Henry's phone is on the map, instead of us just seeing a map talking about he was here, he was there. You know how sometimes they do it, but I think this is very interactive. I think it's good for a visual for the jury when they get back there. So shout out to them for that, doing that part. So guys, once I end this, it will drop us off over there for Viva Las Vegas. We're gonna go over there and get that California, that party started. Yeah, guys, and I will see you guys over there. Sounds like a plan? So yeah. When you go in, make sure you hit the like button, share it out if you like, if you ever so dare so. And I will catch you guys over there in the other room. All right, peace.